unblemished records. And here at home, Rich Stadium, 80,000 fans have cheered win after win for Buffalo. In fact, 17 straight times opponents from the AFC Eastern have fallen to the AFC champions, the Bills, of the last 2 years. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Bob Crumpy. Whoa, what a day it is. And for Miami, they're pleased with the weather. Don Shula made a comment regarding that before the game today, and he's also pleased that he has Keith Jackson, 3 times a Pro Bowler with the Eagles, averaged 60 catches a year and 5 touchdowns, and he's young. And Mark Clayton, who has 507 career catches. Clayton was on the injured list with a cervical problem in the neck. He is going to play today. But they don't play defense, and Buffalo Bills have seemingly an unstoppable offense.
Yeah, he's Thurman Thomas, and he gives defensive coordinators, not just for Miami, but throughout the league, nightmares. This guy is an extraordinary football player, no matter where they put him. I think one of the underrated parts of Thurman Thomas's game, Dick, is the way he runs patterns. He gets a lot of coverage on linebackers with all those safeties and corners. He handles it all. To this point, the Miami Dolphins have not figured out how to stop Thurman Thomas. Last year, 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving in one game. Tom Alibadati and his staff been staying up all week trying to figure out something else to try against Thurman Thomas.
And we'll see Thomas, number 34, in the first series, as the Bills have won the toss and will receive Pete Stoyanovich. We watched him yesterday with the wind at his back try some field goals from 67 yards, and he just missed. Hit a couple from about 62. The wind could be a factor. Brilliant sunshine, a crisp bite in the air here in early October, but at times those flags deceiving. It looks gentle enough now, but down on the field at times gusts up to 20 miles an hour. The Dolphins and the Bills, at this point, the top 2 teams in the AFC East. And Miami trying to prove that this is a much improved Don Shula team with an impressive showing here in Buffalo. Stoyanovich with Eddie Fuller and Kenneth Davis at the other end for Buffalo. That wind doing tricks, and it's Davis. Stopped just shy of the 20-yard line, and the Buffalo Bills take the field. The K-gun, operated by number 12, Jim Dangerous. Wolford, Richer, Hull, Parker, and Ballard, an offensive line that everyone around the league raves about. They work so well together. Thomas and Gardner in the backfield. We won't see much of Gardner. It'll be Thomas the man. Lofton and Reed, the wide receivers, and Steve Tasker will join them. Beebe with a hamstring probably won't play today, and Pete Metzelaars is the tight end. Kelly out of that no huddle. He starts with Thomas lined up directly behind him. And the give to Thurman Thomas, trying to get outside. And finally knocked out of bounds at the 28-yard line. John, make that the 23, John Offerdahl traversing to make the stop. Offerdahl and the Miami defense reading this way, and we'll go through it quickly with that no huddle of Buffalo. Turner, Klein, Bile, Cross, Coleman, Griggs, Offerdahl, and Cox. The 3-4 alignment, but we'll see adjustments. And Kelly goes right to work. Underneath to the tight end Metzelaars for 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 3 out at the 27-yard line. Dwight Collier, a rookie from North Carolina, number 50, in on that play.
The gain of 4, it'll be 3rd and 4.
So Shula able to get a couple of men off the field. And Kelly quickly with that huddle with his wide receivers, and then the play call at the line of scrimmage. Thomas has the first down as he crosses the 30.
Dick, one of the most difficult things about this Buffalo offense is without substitution, Marv Levy and the offense can change dramatically. This first series, they've used Harwell Gardner as an extra tight end. So you see a lone back, but Metzelaars and Gardner up on the line of scrimmage.
Kelly pumps, throws, and there's Andre Reed. Reed, who is just shy of 500 career catches. In fact, needs just 5 today to reach that magical mark. Offerdahl with a stop. Gain of 7, 2nd down and 3. Reed, who had a career-high yardage game last week against New England.
Dick, I also noticed a little difference here in the Miami defense.
Gardner, a rare call for the big fullback, and he blasts to the 44-yard line, first down. Brian Cox made the stop.
We don't have time to show it here, but it looks like Miami is going with just 2 defensive linemen. They have a nose tackle and a defensive end, Klingbeil and Cross, and then they have 4 linebackers. Now here's the change late. They bring in an extra defensive lineman, Turner, and an extra linebacker, so they're switching back and forth defensively.
Thomas hit the backfield, spins, and right into the arms of Brian Cox. Cox, who is from Western Illinois, finishing up the job. Offerdahl made the first contact. There's the defensive coach, Olivadotti, and able to shuttle in some substitutions.
Yeah, here's the change-up defense. They've got 5 defensive backs, basically 2 defensive linemen, and 4 linebackers.
Kelly one-handing the snap. Offerdahl pressuring and lofting. The veteran wide receiver has his first catch. He's to the Miami 48, just shy of a first down.
See if we can see what we've got here. This is Klingbeil. This is Cross. This is Coleman, and Griggs is down as a defensive lineman, when in fact that's just 2 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers.
In essence, a 2-5-4 alignment. It is third down and a yard and a half. Gardner tripped up in the backfield. A knifing tackle by Offerdahl, the 5-time Pro Bowler from Western Michigan. Big play, and Buffalo so often with that first possession takes it right down the field, and that Miami defense perhaps causing some problems.
I don't think Miami minds giving up yardage like this. They'll give them a couple of first downs. They want to come up with that big play because this is an unrelenting offense when it gets rolling.
Chris Moore, seldom used. He's punted only 8 times all year. That's testimony to the Buffalo offense, and Scott Miller going to let that one bounce, and it's going to bounce in the end zone. Miami will play it on the touchback at the 20-yard line when we return. No score early in Buffalo.
Take a look at the defense here. The 2 defensive linemen right in here. That's Cross, and that's also Klingbeil. And then they've got 5 defensive backs, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 linebackers in an attempt to try to slow up this Buffalo offense. Now, this is really taking a chance because the Buffalo offense is the best rushing offense in the league.
And John Offerdahl, one of the inside linebackers in that alignment, able to knife through and make the stop on third down. The bend-don't-break philosophy of Miami, holding Buffalo in the first series, and now it's Marino with a noise, handing off to Higgs, and we get a flag on the first Miami possession. And it looked to be a motion penalty.
And it may be against Farrell Edmonds, the tight end. This has not been a good week.
Dale Hamer.
Full start. Left tackle.
Richmond Webb.
Not.
Here's the Dolphin offense with Keith Jackson on the sidelines. Richmond Webb, the young Pro Bowler, with Sims, Ulanay, Galbraith, and Dellenbach on the front 5. Higgs is the running back with Tony Page. Page has become a top pass receiver, and the great blocker he is. Duper and Clayton. Clayton returns. Edmonds is the tall tight end, and when they go to the 3 wide, we'll see Humphrey and we'll see Keith Jackson along with Tony Martin. Tony Page out to the 30, nearly 15 on the play. Shane Conlon, the tackler, is Page, who leads Miami in catches, has his 15th of this young season.
He's the new secret weapon. I mean, they haven't historically thrown the ball to their tight end. You see an excellent move by Page, 49, on Shane Conlon, 58. I think this is a payoff for the way that Tony Page blocks. I mean, I got to give him something down the field.
You look at the films of Miami and you watch Page, and he can really destroy linebackers. A full 15 on the play, so first down for Marino and Miami. 4.5 minutes into the opening quarter, no score. Page, oh, is he hit in the backfield, as charging through was Bruce Smith. That was the kind of acceleration defensively you would expect from a linebacker, but it was Smith.
He'll come around Richmond Webb. They run a game. Tally 56 goes inside. Smith goes outside, and he's there to make the tackle. Now, Higgs is a good cutback or bounce runner, something that I believe Walt Corey is building into the defense today, Dick.
And he'll move Smith around, although he's lined up just inside Webb on this play. 2nd down and 12. Marino completes it to Clayton. Mark Clayton to the 40. Appears to have another first down. Nate Odoms rides him down. Clayton, who needs just 2 catches to tie Nat Moore's Miami record.
This is one thing that is very dangerous to do against Dan Marino. He gets time. He's also has the presence to stand back there and allow that pattern to open. Now watch the move by Clayton. Inside, the spin move, back outside, delay outside, first down pickup.
To the 41, a 13-yard play. Higgs. And the little guy from Owensboro, Kentucky, who played for the Wildcats at the University of Kentucky, has nearly 5. Smith and Talley in on the tackle. Higgs, who's only 5'7", but has tremendous thighs. He said, I've always had those all the way back to high school. He's got the legs of a man that you'd expect to be 225, 230.
You know what shocked me about him? He just started wearing contact lenses when he came to the Miami Dolphins. He has very poor eyesight.
Said, no wonder I couldn't catch the ball. I didn't see it till it was right in my face. On 2nd down, Higgs hit in the backfield by Cornelius Bennett. Don't call me Corny. You can call me Biscuit Bennett.
Boy, he runs right around the tight end. He runs right around Farrell Edmonds. Look at the speed of Cornelius Bennett on a running play, getting around the block, and catches the running back when he's running to his side. Remarkable effort by Cornelius Bennett.
Bennett, a man who told us a couple of days ago that he almost quit football because of a severe shoulder injury a couple seasons ago. Shotgun, 3rd down and 6. And was he drawn offside as Bruce Smith like a rocket into Keith Sims. Now Sims weighs 310 pounds.
Coach Smith,
it was like pushing
number 91 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Jeff Wright is the man they ticket with the 5 yards, and that'll be up 3rd and very short for Miami.
This is a very good offensive line you are looking at there. The 2 youngest, 69 and 78, instant starters with the Miami Dolphins when they came in, which is very unusual for rookie offensive linemen.
Keith Jackson is in for the first time as a Dolphin. Number 88. Jackson lined up on the right side. On 3rd and 1. And it's Higgs right to the 50-yard line, but short of the first down. No, I got James Saxon inserted into the lineup, and Carlton Bailey and Bruce Smith were there to grade him.
Dick, that was a 3 tight end set. They run Beatty in motion number 84, and here is his first block. They try to run it on Jones, the outside, or the strong safety. That's an easy block for a tight end to make, but Bennett, 97, stuffed it right in the hole for no gain. Wait a minute. The offense is still out here on 4th and short.
4th and 1, and Shula has the offense still in there. Goodness.
All right, he's going to take a timeout now. Wow. What a declaration by Don Shula.
Miami, timeout.
So Miami uses a timeout. 7:07 left in the opening quarter.
On NBC is brought to you by Pontiac and your nearby Pontiac dealers. We are driving excitement. By Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price. By the Diamond Anniversary Band. This year, tell her you'd marry her all over again. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
Welcome back to Rich Stadium, and this crowd on its feet, spurring the defense. 4th and a long 1. And Shula apparently going to go for it with Page and Humphrey lined up behind Marino. That's Beatty in motion. Or are they just going to try to draw Buffalo? Yep, that's what they were going to do. Didn't work. 5-yard penalty. Now, Shula, there were 2 sides to that issue. One was he making a statement that they were going to go all out and gamble on the first possession at midfield, or what he just tried to do.
Delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
I think Shula knows that any tricks he's got in his bag beginning of this season, he's got to get him out here against Buffalo at home.
Clifford Hicks just returning to the Buffalo roster off the injury list to return Joe Prokop, left-footed kicker, replacing the injured Reggie Roby. Dying spiral. Hicks way up to the 25 to field it on the run. And he's to the 37, breaking tackles all the way to the 47-yard line. '29-yard punt by Prokop, 22-yard return, and Prokop had to make the tackle. Clifford Hicks with the return.
See what defense now Miami's going to start this second series with. See if we can pick it up. They've got Turner in there, 95 Turner, Klingbeil, and Cross, so they're going back to their base front.
The other interesting part with that punt return, Bob Trumpy, had they gone for it, they'd only lost a couple of yards and failed.
That's true.
Buffalo takes over at midfield. Kelly to the 40 to James Lofton. That'll be a first down.
Dick, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but Miami's making a very late defensive substitution into this hybrid defense with 2 defensive linemen, Coleman on the outside with Griggs on the outside, and 5 defensive backs. It's not worked.
Both wide receivers to the left, and that's where Kelly looks to go. To Reed, another 10, 11 yards, first down. Brian Cox and Dusty Jackson with a tackle.
When you talk to Miami coaches, when they dissect film, look at Miami, Ali Vadati admits that Buffalo looks for mismatches, and he says Kelly can find the mismatch, and they're very patient offense, even though it's a hurry up.
Hand off to Thomas. Breaking a couple of tackles. And to the 26, hard-earned 3 yards, Offerdahl and Klingbeil on the stop. John Offerdahl, one of the many Dolphins involved in the hurricane aftermath. He produced thousands of bagels from his 3 bagel companies to provide to people in southern Florida that going through that devastating tragedy. On second down, Kelly, lots of time. Takes it down. And is picked up at the 23-yard line. Brian Cox got a mid on him.
There was a lesson for a rookie defensive lineman, Marco Coleman. Coleman bought the pump fake. Kelly had him up there for a jump ball. Part of the learning process in the NFL.
You're right the first time. Kelly made him jelly.
Yes, he did. Went right underneath that arm.
Third down. And a short 3. Kelly is 5 for 5 throwing the ball. Knocked away by the rookie Troy Vincent. Vincent, the #1 pick of the Dolphins out of Wisconsin, the 7th player selected in the draft. And that'll bring on Steve Christie for a field goal try.
So far, Lofton is the intended receiver. So far, Miami's defense has done an excellent job here. Just giving up a little bit, bending a certain amount, not letting him get into that red zone and the scoring zone.
Steve Christie picked up on the Plan B process from Tampa Bay. Has missed only one. He's 7 for 8. This one for 40 yards. And the Bills lead 3-0. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the opening period. Kelly not happy about settling for a field goal. He's 5 for 6, and
oh, did you see what he said? He said, "Are you in charge of the balls? Make sure there's air in them." He threw that ball away. Maybe he wants a Pete Rozelle ball, Dick. I'm not sure.
Now with Jim Schaffner, who replaced Ted Marchibroda as the offensive coordinator. And in many ways, the loss of Marchibroda, which was rued by some here in Buffalo as he went to the Colts as their head man, and bringing in Schaffner has only added to that K-gun attack. Schaffner with other wrinkles that have made it all the more difficult to stop Buffalo. James Williams starts out, and he'll have to go with it now. And gets to the 20 and more. With a hesitation out to the 23-yard line. Well, next Saturday on NBC Sports World, Belmont Park hosts the Breeders' Cup Preview. 1991 Kentucky Derby winner Strike the Gold. 1992 Belmont Stakes winner AP Indy. Just two of the many horses that will be running in this final tune-up before racing's championship day, the Breeders' Cup. That'll be coming up, of course, later this month on NBC. But next weekend, Belmont Park Breeders' Cup Preview at 4:30 Eastern Time.
There you see Jim Kelly going to Frank Wright, who is the #1 guy he listens to on the sideline, Dick. Hand signals. Keith Jackson is in at tight end.
Duper and Clayton to the left. And they dump it off to Bobby Humphrey. The former Bronco gets a block, and he's out to the 40-yard line. A pickup of about 18 yards. Cornelius Bennett chased him down.
Again, a great read by Dan Marino in that quick release. He sees the blitz coming. You also see Hansen in his face with a little pressure. Marino finds the right receiver. Bennett makes the tackle.
And Keith Jackson helping block on Carlton Bailey as Bruce Smith right on the heels of Marino. First down Miami at the 40. 3-0 Buffalo first quarter. Humphrey straight ahead to the 42-yard line. Jeff Wright, the nose tackle with the stop. Keith Willis is in the lineup for Phil Hansen for the Buffalo Bills. Willis, a new acquisition, picked up on waivers, formerly with the Steelers, and then the Washington Redskins took him on Plan B this year and released him, and now a member of this Buffalo defense, replacing in essence Leon Sears.
Still a great pass rusher, Keith Willis is. Again, audible.
Movement in the line, and of course the noise a factor there. Bruce Smith and Willis charging through.
Bruce Smith was right on the center. Ulenig. That was that double sync Bruce where they had tackles and end cover the center and the two guards.
False start. Number 62 of the offense. 5-yard penalty.
There he goes with the right guard.
You can see Smith is here. They call this double sync Bruce to try to put pressure on the up front guys on the offensive line, and I don't blame the offensive line for flinching a little bit. When you got Bruce Smith in there, yeah, I'd be quick out of my stance too.
Smith said, I'd like to line up against Richmond Wood the entire game, but the coaches feel by placing me in the middle, I can get into Marino's space, and that's how you stop Dan Marino. Marino guns over the middle. What a throw! At the 45-yard line, Keith Jackson pays his first dividend to Miami. 18 yards.
Now, the one thing you like about Keith Jackson is he splits out as a tight end, and he runs patterns like a wide receiver. Hicks is the man in coverage just off the injured reserve list, but Jackson, even though he is 6'2", 254, he runs like he's 204 out there, and that's the thing that Don Shula likes about it.
First catch since late December against the Redskins, and he had good coverage on him, had to fight off the defender, makes a catch of a perfect throw from Marino. Miami in Buffalo territory the first time, and nothing there for Bobby Humphrey as Cornelius Bennett and others make the stop, and Bennett appears to be nicked on the play.
I think it's his arm or shoulder, Dick.
Reaching in down low to make the stop. Four-time Pro Bowler Bennett.
And of course, we know the shoulder problems he's had. Started his thought he was going to be a tight end when he went to college. They turned him into a linebacker the first day he showed up at Alabama.
Appear to be working on the right wrist of Cornelius Bennett. Does not seem to be serious. 3-0 Buffalo. Those are the first points allowed by the Miami defense in the first quarter this year. Of course, they played one less game than most of the league. Miami and New England set out the first weekend because of the hurricane. Marcus Patton, number 53, has replaced Bennett. Marino, his 4 first downs all by pass, 4 for 4, 64 yards. They've made only 4 yards on the ground, -4. On 2nd and 10. underneath to Clayton. A good spin move by the clever receiver from Louisville, and he has a first down at the 32-yard line. Nate Odoms gets him out of bounds.
One of the things the Buffalo Bills wanted to do is pressure Marino up the middle. Again, you see Bruce Smith just offset from the center, Ulenek. And actually, the Miami Dolphin offensive line does an excellent job of giving Marino enough time. Dick, this package here, this group that Miami's put on the field with Humphrey in the backfield and Jackson at tight end, obviously their best drive so far today.
And another pass from Marino is 5 for 5. And Clayton is just one catch away from Nat Moore's all-time Miami record. 510. Humphrey with a carry, and some positive yards on the ground from the former Alabama All-America, Darryl Talley, and others with the stop. Bobby Humphrey acquired from the Broncos for Sammy Smith in a 1-for-1. Sat out most of last year in the doghouse of Dan Reeves after reporting very late in a dispute.
And missed the plane this week to Buffalo, so he's in another doghouse, which is generally a pretty good incentive to play well on Sunday.
He might be running faster today. He's lighter.
Yes, he is.
In the wallet. Keith Jackson split on the right side in the slot. And wide open is Humphrey. And Humphrey down the sidelines finally bumped out of bounds at the 12-yard line as Darryl Talley gets him. And this offense with Jackson adding another dimension and Clayton's return and Bobby Humphrey in the backfield operating much like Buffalo's K-gun.
Dick, look at this. This is Jackson. Watch the double coverage already on Keith Jackson. The respect that Buffalo is paying already to Keith Jackson. You'll see the safety comes up to help. That allows Bobby Humphrey to be wide open in the flat.
Final seconds of the opening quarter, and Miami threatens down 3-0. And Marino comes over to verbally give Keith Jackson the call. Over the middle, incomplete, intended for Mark Duper. Nate Odoms on the coverage. The Dolphins have, to Don Shula's taste, scored too many times by way of a field goal inside the 20. This would be their 14th trip into that red zone with only 4 touchdowns.
Well, they've certainly taken a lot of time off the clock. This has been a very deliberate, positive drive. That's one of the things that teams like to do against Buffalo.
Again, 4 wide with Jackson in essence playing a slot right. Martin far right with Duper and Clayton to the left side. Into the end zone, and nice coverage again. Kirby Jackson as he ran off the receiver Mark Clayton. That brings up 3rd and 10. Don Shula looking for his 310th win, and may just, as we'll learn, as Dan Marino says, I can't tell you now. Wait till later in the season when we ask him, is this the best offensive personnel you've ever had while in Miami? But he did it with a twinkle in his eye.
Yes. I like Don Shula's comment yesterday when we talked to him. He said, I'm trying to surround Dan Marino with as many great offensive athletes as I can find.
He's done it. 3rd and 10. And Tony Martin covered well by Kelso. 2 seconds left in the quarter, and you saw what Joe Prokop's punt, what happened in this wind at Rich Stadium, and it is in that condition now that one of the top kickers in the league, Pete Stoyanovich, comes in for his 12th try of the year. He's 10 out of 11. This young man from Indiana has a tremendous leg, already a 53-yarder. His only miss from 50. This in 30 yards. And we have a tie game at the end of the first period here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. It's the Buffalo Bills 3 and the Miami Dolphins 3.
Last play, 3rd and 10. Here's the primary receiver. The ball goes to this guy down here. Excellent coverage by Kirby Jackson. Makes Dan Marino throw the ball into the end zone, incomplete. You can see the coverage there. Does an outstanding job. He finally just throws it away down in the end zone. It did look like Martin gave up on the pattern a little bit there, but he's an outlet. In communication between Keith Jackson and Dan Marino, Gary Stevens, quarterback coach there with a headset on.
Jackson, you could just see, he said, I don't even want to answer any questions because my mind is so full of new business. I'm trying to keep it all straight. Don't even suggest a play with any number or name on it. He said, I'm just prepared for one game, this game. I'll worry about the rest of the season on Monday. Stoyanovich blasts that one out of the end zone, and Buffalo will start from the 20-yard line. Well, let's look at the menu for next week. It's an NBC doubleheader weekend starting at 12:30 with NFL Live. Seattle, Dallas, and Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Now, it's an old rivalry renewed. The early games, Buffalo and the Raiders will be with the Bills and the Raiders out at the Coliseum. Houston, Cincinnati, and the Jets, Indianapolis. That's next Sunday on NBC. Well, the Bills saw Miami control the ball almost 5 minutes on that last drive that covered 66 yards before the 30-yard field goal by Stoyanovich. Second quarter, 3-all. Lofton wide open. That's his third catch. That goes for 16 more yards before Offerdahl and Vincent can make the stop. The veteran, James Lofton, more career receiving yards than anyone in the history of the game.
Certainly the rookie, Troy Vincent, going to give a lot of room to the veteran, James Lofton. Lofton shows that great acceleration off the line of scrimmage, which drives all defensive backs off. Nice pickup. Again, now I think we'll see Buffalo go to something else here. Try something else. Reverse.
How did you know this is coming? Andre Reed, but you weren't the only one. It was read well by David Griggs, the University of Virginia. Griggs, who's played very well this year, hands Buffalo a negative of about 7 yards on that play.
Well done. Stayed at home. You can see the whole thing. He doesn't really read it. He kind of falls into it, but makes an excellent tackle. Buffalo keeps discovering what they can do formation-wise and personnel-wise.
Kelly down the field and misses James Lofton. Vincent on the coverage. That'll bring up third down and 17. Kelly now 6 for 8. Marv Levy and Don Shula, the two deans of NFL coaching. Levy is 64. Shula, 2 years the pup. Going for 310 wins today, Shula. And you know, through the years, and we've known Don over 20, it just seems like he's the one man that doesn't change. It's one of the beautiful things about the NFL that Shula is always just that. Yeah. It says it all. Last night. Over the middle, complete to Thomas. He's dragged down at the 40. That'll be shy of the first down by nearly 6 yards. Brian Cox, second year from Western Illinois, made the stop.
Not enough to make the conversion. This Miami defense has done a very good job. I mean, one of the things that helps, Dick, is you want 80 yards behind your defense, so you can employ all the different defenses.
Scott Miller will drift back for Miami, anticipating the punt from Chris Moore. Just to get Buffalo to punt is a moral victory of sorts. Dying kick. Miller fair catch. 22-yard line. And with that, a timeout with 13-11 left in the opening half. Two unbeaten teams in the AFC are even. That picture would belie the crispness of that wind out of the north today. I know you love the cold.
Yes, I do,
Bob, but those of us who have had the blood thin in Southern California notice the difference. This is real football weather.
There's no medication for that thin Southern California blood, is there? 3 sweaters, a sport coat, maybe an overcoat. It still doesn't help.
And you look like those Buffalo cheerleaders with that bare midriff.
Summer.
You saw the time of possession, and of course that's a key to the overall plan for Don Shula to try to keep the ball away from Kelly and that powerful Bills offense. And Shula and his team go to work just outside the 22-yard line.
And you were talking about Don Shula earlier, now in charge of just about every aspect of the Miami Dolphins football team. He makes trades. He does it all.
Don't know what this confusion is all about. Perhaps one of the clocks not working.
Looks all right.
Oh, I see. That's, yeah, one of the officials either ill or injured leaving the field at the far side. So Hamer making sure that all bases are covered as best he can, and the side judge apparently hit in the eye.
One of the officials was injured, will work the game with 6 men.
Don Wedge, a veteran official, many, actually a couple of decades in the league, is the man who left the field. Very nice. Incomplete, and no flag on the play as Cooper well covered by James Williams.
Well, you know, the defensive line of the Buffalo Bills, they've gotten close, but they have not really disrupted Dan Marino throwing the ball. Play action fake. The tally comes on the blitz. Smith is there, but I mean, that still gives Dan Marino enough time to throw.
The wince was not from Payne so much as from no call from the official. He wanted that yellow flag. So after going 6 for 6, Marino has missed on the last 4 attempts. Over the middle to the big tight end Jackson at the 35-yard line, and a flag thrown from deep downfield. Sometimes that tight end guilty of using the hands. Nope, it's against the Bills for holding. 12 yards and a first down.
Buffalo has discovered one of the big problems of trying to cover Keith Jackson with a linebacker. It will.
Holding, number 54 of the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
It will not work. You can't cover Keith Jackson with a linebacker. You see he gets a good release inside of Darryl Talley. Yeah, I'd say that's holding on the tight end. There's no question about that.
First down out at the 35. As they pick the play, and the 12-yard gain by Jackson, his second catch today. Marino through the hands of Duper at the Buffalo 48-yard line. Good coverage from James Williams.
One of the things that teams are going to have to start doing now against the Miami Dolphins is hold him up at the line of scrimmage. You see Talley takes the fake outside. Jackson gets the release, but Shane Conlon stops him in his tracks. He's going to get a lot more attention from defenses.
Tough to really, the average fan who hasn't played football, to appreciate what being in football shape in terms of contact really means. It means that Jackson probably won't walk real well the first 3 or 4 days next week, will he?
He'll spend the week in the tub.
Marino underneath, and what a throw to Page, and he has a first down, skidding to the 49 of Buffalo. Conlon with a tackle from behind, 14 yards for Tony Page.
Now this is the other side from the tight end. You run the tight end on one side, you run the fullback on the other. Now that additional weapon of Keith Jackson has spread out the Buffalo defense, and Page again catching the ball cleanly right underneath Shane Conlon.
The total package, TP, Tony Page. He likes the idea of being able to catch a ball early in his career. He was never noted for even having the opportunity with the Jets and the Lions. On first down, it's a 3-3 tie, and Higgs to the 46-yard line, a 3-yard gain. Bennett, the tackler.
In 4, second and 6.
11:43 remaining in the first half. Field goal's the story thus far. Stojanovic 30 yards for Miami to tie Buffalo. They got a 40-yarder from Christie. But Miami, I guess the story to this point is the fact they've been able to move the ball, pick up first downs, keep it away from Kelly and the Buffalo offense.
Good patience by Miami.
And second down and a long 6. Oh, my. Carlton Bailey and Jeff Wright were there as soon as Higgs got the handoff.
I can certainly understand why one of them gets in there, but 2 of them shouldn't. Here he sits right here. The nose tackle goes this way. You can see him get in there in a hurry Looks like Bailey could almost take the handoff, run the other way.
That's almost a jailbreak.
Yeah. Higgs is very lucky to hang on to that football.
5 carries, 1 yard total for Mark Higgs. 3rd down and 10 for Marino. Incomplete, and Marino had to unload in a hurry. Freddie Banks was the nearest receiver.
You can see a certain amount of impatience now by Buffalo. They even come with Hicks coming on the corner blitz, trying to get some pressure on Dan Marino as best they possibly can.
So Joe Prokop comes in for his second punting try. This time the wind will be more in his favor. Although the wind is blowing from the north into his face up high, it actually serves down lower to help the kicker and the passer going from our right to our left. Beautiful spiral. Fair catch by Hicks. He lets it bounce. Oh. And that could have been a great play. Does no signal that he did catch it in the end zone in midair, and that's a great play. Looked to be Tony Martin. No, Mike Williams. It was Mike Williams, but a flag is down. And they're going to call it back. A great effort by Williams. As long as you leave from the field of play, you can...
Illegal formation on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
You can fly deep into the end zone as long as you don't come down. And Don Shula barking at the official on that call. The illegal formation.
Well, they're really... That's Westhoff, too, the special teams coach. They are really been in the ear of the head linesman. His name is Paul Widener.
Anyone who knows the rules at Shula, he's been on that rules committee much of his NFL career.
One of the problems with being an official, a head linesman, is that you get each sideline on each path right in front of the coach.
So that nullifies the ball being down and almost snapped over Prokop's head. Did a good job of fielding it. Hicks at the 20 to the 30. So that is for Don Shula, a 26-yard penalty instead of the 4. Buffalo takes over at the 30.
This is a big car. Put it in park. Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
Where's my food?
I love this place.
You know, you could have got the sandwich for 99 cents.
I didn't want that. I wanted this.
That's a smart move then, so you're having it your way.
99 cents per sandwich.
Sandwich. Can you do that? Yeah, but it's called a croissant. Check in between the seats. You could reach down in there and find enough change to pay for it. You got the croissant? Is that your favorite thing to get?
Yeah.
It's your way right away.
Love this place.
Get in line, stay in step, or maybe you'd rather go your own way. In which case, check out the all-new 93 626 ES from the new Mazda, the company that's put a twist on everything from luxury cars to roadsters. Now we've done the same to sedans. With a V6, an airbag, and ABS. Introducing the all-new Mazda 626.
Mazda, it just feels right.
Weekend. No tie, no briefcase, just plastic.
It all boils down to this. No other card you can carry is accepted in more places and in more ways.
Food.
At home and abroad.
I got it.
Than MasterCard. It's the only card you need.
Rooms.
MasterCard.
Not a bad day's work.
Master the moment.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Burger King, where you can get it your way right away at Burger King now. By MasterCard. Master the moment with a card that's accepted at nearly 10 million places worldwide. By the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. And by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Again, Burger Bob Trumpy at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. 80,000 on a crisp autumn day as the Buffalo Bills, their high-octane offense, producing only a field goal with 10 minutes left in the opening half. It's tied at 3. Kelly starts at the 30. It's this hybrid Miami defense. Thomas tripped up, gets only a yard. So Thurman Thomas, the league leader again this year in scrimmage yards, as he has been the last 3 seasons. 11 yards rushing, 11 yards passing so far.
The idea here is Miami's defense is putting their best 6 up front people at the line of scrimmage. 4 linebackers for pursuit. Catch that counter from behind.
Thomas again. And he's smothered after another yard, maybe 2, so it'll be 3rd down and about 7. J.B. Brown helping out from the corner. Bears with a couple of field goals against Minnesota. New Orleans, Morton Anderson a long one. The only score against Detroit. Tampa Bay trying to go 4-1. Touchdown lead against Indianapolis.
This is dangerous for Miami. This is what Ali Vadati, the defensive coordinator, does not like.
3rd and 7 for Kelly. Hit as he throws, and it's intercepted. Louis Oliver at the 40, and Oliver to the 38-yard line, tackled by Will Wolford. So the first turnover goes against Marv Levy as Louis Oliver catches that dying quail as Kelly hit just as he released the ball.
1st and 10 Miami.
Miami comes with a blitz. It was going to be an out and up by Thurman Thomas that Kelly was staying with. Here's the blitz right here. It's John Offerdahl. So far this defense has done an excellent job. They get just enough pressure on him that he can't follow through on this. The ball is up for grabs, and Oliver comes away with it.
Well, Offerdahl's pressure leads to the interception. Marino from his own 38. Flags down, and so is the quarterback of the Dolphins. Jeff Wright was there first, and Cornelius Bennett with an assist.
Dick, first, well, let's go back to the interception to see exactly what happened. The pattern run is an out and up by Thurman Thomas. Kelly tries to stay with it, showing a little bit of impatience. The Miami defense has done a good job here of slowing up the Buffalo offense. He tries for the big play, and he throws the interception. Oliver.
Still 1st down.
So offsetting fouls. 1st down it remains, and that's a break for the Dolphins. Louis Oliver with a interception, his first this year, led Miami, or shared the lead the last 3 seasons in interceptions. And Jim Kelly not happy about the way things have progressed here in the first half at home, where pretty well he's had all he can eat.
Yeah. Buffalo now defensively, 6 defensive backs, 4 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker.
8:40 left in the opening half, 3-3 tie. Bobby Humphrey as a hole. Whoa, he was 1 man from going all the way. Tackled at the 24-yard line. Darryl Talley and Mark Kelso, the free safety, the last man in his path.
You can see that with the 6 defensive backs out on the field, perfect opportunity for a running back like Bobby Humphrey to run the ball. Now, in previous years with Jim Jensen in that spot in this nickel package, he doesn't run the ball. That's the additional value of Bobby Humphrey in that spot for the Miami Dolphins.
After a couple 1,000-yard seasons in Denver, his rookie and second year, sat out most of last year, but gradually working himself into a very prominent role in this Miami offense. Now out of the Miami version of the run and shoot, or the shotgun. Marino to Jackson. Did he spear that one? And it is a touchdown. Oh, my. You saw in one package Keith Jackson and why he's all-pro material. He stabs that bullet from Marino and then runs through the defense. And when that man smiles, the jaw smiles. It's like a holiday for Don Shula. Keith Jackson, a first major return. His 3rd catch is for a touchdown, 24 yards.
Don Shula and Dan Marino both made the point to us yesterday that Keith Jackson understands and reads defenses very well.
Try for point by Stoyanovich, and it's 10-3. And as Jackson told us yesterday, with Marino, you don't look for the quarterback. You better look for the ball because it gets there right now.
Why can't van doors swing open instead of slide? Why do minivans handle like trucks? Why can't they feel more like a car? This is what the engineers at Mazda wondered when they designed the MPV. Because when you ask better questions, you tend to come up with better answers.
Why does your door do that?
The MPV from the new Mazda.
It just feels right.
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sports Stick. An aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Only Delta gives you more flights from over here to over there. Only Delta flies you non-stop to more cities from over here to over there. In fact, only Delta flies you non-stop to more cities in Europe than all these airlines combined. Delta, we love to fly, and it shows the world over.
Tonight, a streetwise agent's life is in jeopardy.
Kidnapping of federal agents about as ugly as it can get.
Based on the actual case.
Where is she
An
now?
all-new Secret Service. Then, you'll eyewitness the climax of a dangerous manhunt and feel the heat of danger in a Hellfighter Spectacular Video Diary. An all-new eyewitness video after Secret Service NBC tonight.
Whether your business is small,
Pyrotechnics from Miami, Marino to Jackson.
Jackson runs the crossing pattern. Marino comes out of the backfield. I'm not so sure that that ball wasn't intended for Mark Clayton. Jackson makes a heck of an athletic move to make the reception. That's a question I'd ask Don Shula and Dan Marino. Who was the primary receiver there?
Jackson said, "It's mine now." His first touchdown as a Dolphin as they convert the interception into 7 points. And 10-3 Miami leads for the first time today with 7:39 left in the half. Eddie Fuller, Kenneth Davis at the other end as Stojanovic has it teed up. Last time he kicked it right out of the end zone. It'd be tough to return that. And Buffalo will start at the 20-yard line as we go back to the touchdown.
Okay, here's Jackson. Good coverage, and he has to try to break the pattern. I'm not really sure. When Marino is flushed out of the pocket, it's very hard to tell, but you see Jackson go behind the linebacker. Clayton puts his hands up, but what a athletic move by Keith Jackson. Boy, you don't coach that. But that's an all-pro play in his first game as a Miami Dolphin. Yes, he's paid back part of that big check already.
And with that, the hope, you just feel the Southern Florida's hopes rising when they saw that play. If ever you needed evidence of why he was the treasure in that free agent pickup of that small group of players, Keith Jackson has just offered full evidence.
There was a pointed moment, too, on the sideline. Farrell Edmonds went over and congratulated him on the catch.
Now Kelly and Buffalo on 2nd and 5. First down across the 30. Vesty Jackson. It appears, Bob Trumpy, that 24 Jackson has been assigned to shadow Thurman Thomas.
He's either getting Thurman Thomas or he's getting Andre Reed. But again, that hybrid defense of Miami, 2 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, and there's Vesty Jackson on Andre Reed.
And it was intended for Reed, and it was Brian Cox who was there in time to bat it away. Brian Cox, what a story he is. From East St. Louis, from the ghetto. He said, I told my father he shouldn't sell and do drugs. He said, when my father died, the day before he died, he called everyone in the family but me because he didn't like the fact that I went against that path. Very open and candid. And it's Troy Vincent knocking away from Brad Lamb.
To this point, Buffalo with nothing really sustained in this first half. It looks like Buffalo is searching around quite a bit to find something that will work, but they're getting a different defensive look. It's going to take them some time at halftime to figure out what might work.
3rd and 10. Lots of time for Kelly. He's
got the first down at the 45-yard line. Buying time on the roll, hits Brad Lamb. Lamb with his third catch of the year, 14 yards, and paid the price.
He got hammered. Kelly does an excellent job of avoiding the rush. Steps up inside the right tackle. Coleman, 90, gets close, but not close enough. And then Kelly throws back across the middle, into the middle of the field there. That's dangerous, but Kelly's book's title is Armed and Dangerous. He doesn't mind taking chances with that football.
Troy Vincent made the tackle. Steve Tasker is in for Lamb.
Kelly has a line he uses for his receivers. Sometimes they have plays where there's no primary. He says, stay alert and keep running. I'll find you.
From the 45, another first down, 6 minutes and 10 seconds left in the half. Out of the backfield to Thomas. And Thomas, first down, Miami, 43-yard line.
There's the defensive coordinator, Tom Olivadotti. I'm surprised he didn't try to, give him an arm bar or something, to, push him into the bench, something like that.
That's the nightmare for those defensive coaches around the league. Thurman Thompson. Thomas, how do you stop him? On first down. Kelly wide open to Pete Metzelaars, and the tight end has his first catch. That's close to a first down at the 33. Cox and Jackson with a tackle.
They're finding. That's the one thing you got to love about the Buffalo offense. I don't care who you are, even though you're a Miami Dolphins fan. This Buffalo offense has so many offensive weapons. They find a way to get to a series that continually works. They just keep searching. Kelly keeps talking to Frank Reich. What are we getting in this situation? Let's try this. This may be the most changeable offense in the NFL. Some of it, a lot of it, at the line of scrimmage.
And they force you to play your 11 men, basically, although Don Shula and Olivadotti have been able to get a couple of men on the field in between these quickly ordered plays by Kelly as they measure for a first down, and it appears, yes, just enough. At the 33-yard line, Brad Lamb, out for a play after being hit by Vincent, is back in the lineup, and Metzelaars is left with a limp after that last catch. There's Lamb, who played at Anderson, Indiana, NAIA Division II school. All 7 plays on this successful drive after the Miami touchdown through the air. 5 completed by Kelly. Wonderful change of direction talent of Thurman Thomas. He's inside the Miami 30.
The Miami Dolphin defensive coaches didn't think that this hybrid defense would work throughout the entire game. And now Buffalo is beginning to catch on to what they're seeing here defensively. So the next adjustment now must come from the Miami defense to stop this drive.
Now they put Thomas out in a slot on the right, triple right. And they throw the other way, and it's picked off. J.B. Brown.
He's fast.
He could go all the way if they can stop Kelly. And Kelly, how about that? Kelly denies a touchdown. A man who admits that he has the temperament of a linebacker, not a quarterback, would not be denied. Fought off a block and saved the score. But J.B. Brown takes it all the way to the Buffalo 34-yard line.
Excellent coverage by Miami. Forced Jim Kelly to go to an alternate receiver. And J.B. Brown with excellent coverage comes up with the second interception of the day for Miami.
The last one by Louis Oliver led to the touchdown score. Keith Jackson. Clayton left, Duper right. Page. And it's Higgs behind Page. Mark Higgs, the little guy, skipping out of bounds with a first down at the 20-yard line. James Williams, the quarterback, with a tackle, a 13-yard play. Let's go back to the interception.
And as you watch this play, watch the coverage down the field. Excellent coverage all over, and you see at the top of the screen that I don't believe that that's the primary receiver. J.B. Brown does an excellent job of getting in front of the receiver. It was intended for Brad Lamb, and Kelly does get him to the sideline.
There's a 40-yard return. They mark the ball at the 21. First down, Miami.
with 4 minutes, 6 seconds left in the half. 10-3 Dolphins. Higgs again, inside handoff, has about 5 yards. Jeff Wright, the nose tackle from Central Missouri State, with a piece of the action, along with Carlton Bailey. He played at North Carolina.
Well, let's give credit to this Miami Dolphin offensive line. They have done an outstanding job against a very stout defensive line and linebackers here at Buffalo in their home park. These guys have not been intimidated. They've done an excellent job of just changing up enough to slow up the pass rush of Buffalo.
Now, Buffalo had a slow half at New England last week. It's a team averaging 38 points a game. Marino underneath to Clayton. Clayton inside the 10-yard line. It's 1st and goal, Miami. And with that catch, Mark Clayton has tied Nat Moore for the all-time career catch lead in Dolphin history. 510 coming up.
They call this an option route. Basically, the offense allows the receiver to make the cut he wants. The quarterback and the receiver read the defender, and if they're on the same page, the completion is made. Clayton still with great quickness and 3 mighty fine receivers right there.
And Clayton playing his first game of the year, injured at the start with that neck problem. Higgs. He just burrows his way for about 3 to the 5-yard line. Not much to hit at 5'7", Higgs, except a lot of legs.
He does hide and hide well. Tony Page was up at the line of scrimmage acting like a tight end, had a pretty decent block, and then Richmond Webb pulls. He's right behind him. Yeah, he's tough to find. Said that when he was in Dallas, he was behind Herschel Walker. Herschel never came out of the game. Went to Philadelphia. Randall Cunningham threw it. Finally gets a chance to run it in Miami.
And gained over 900 yards last season. On to the 2-minute timeout, and I don't think they'll get a play off. Now there it is, the 2-minute warning. So when we return, 2 minutes left in the first half, the Miami Dolphins trying to add to a 10-3 lead.
Silver summer, silver time, silver line girl in the silver suit looks so fine, looks so fine. Silver bottom, silver top, silver fish, silver which come from here, right from here. Ooh, and it tastes so good. Cool light is alright here now. Cool light is alright here now.
Rust. What it can do to the outside of your car, weak, neglected antifreeze can do to the inside. You need the tough anti-corrosion formula of Prestone. Use fresh Prestone every year to give your radiator and cooling systems heavy-duty rust and corrosion protection. No matter what happens to the outside, Prestone protects the inside. Prestone stops the rust that stops your car.
While the fluid styling of the Mazda 929 may be timeless, this generous offer from Mazda is considerably shorter. Now you can lease the 929, complete with dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, and European leather, for just $349 per month. So see your Mazda dealer today. Like all good things, this offer must soon come to an end.
The Bills. With the NFL's top offense, Kelly and company have their sights set on a 3rd straight AFC championship. The Raiders. Their trouncing by the Bills in the championship game 2 years ago still has the silver and black seeing red. Now they clash again. An NBC football doubleheader next Sunday.
Back in Buffalo, stay tuned at halftime. The Domino's Pizza halftime report. O.J. Simpson will just take him right out of that picture with Bob and Coach Bill and Will. He'll be down on the sidelines with the report, and we'll also have a special tribute to our close friend Bill Walsh after that sensational upset at Notre Dame yesterday. Meanwhile, upset on the minds of Buffalo because Miami is trying to engineer just that, leading 10-3. It's 2nd and goal at the 5 in the final 2 minutes of the half. Touchdown! And into a crowd with Tally surrounding Tony Page. Had to dig out the number. Tony Page
using his girth to ward off enough of the defense to find an opening for Marino.
And Dick, again, it appeared the primary receiver was Keith Jackson. Page is on. He runs the circle. The tight end runs the other pattern. Well, a great job by Marino avoiding Shane Conlon. There's Jackson, 88, standing in the end zone. Tony Page, 6 points.
Now the try for point by Stoyanovich. 2 pass interceptions, 14 points for Miami. And this is a score that will stun crowds around the NFL. 1:55 left in the first half, 17-3 as you watch Keith Jackson setting up in territorial, much like a center, getting room in the post in basketball. Meanwhile, Page has the touchdown.
Books and the Hall of Fame by leading the NFL in passing 6 times. A true legend of the game.
Take one and action. Hey, what's the best thing about breakfast at McDonald's?
Coffee.
Pour out a cup, it's steaming, it's dark and rich.
I pour it personally.
Coffee fresh?
Fresh brewed. Fantastic cup of coffee.
So what's the secret?
Arabica.
Oh, what's an Arabica?
Arabica beans.
Oh, the beans. And what else?
It's always fresh.
It just tastes good.
And they like to come in and talk with each other, and just like the small coffee shop long ago.
How much a coffee refill?
They're free. What you want is what you get.
It's guaranteed.
What's up?
Yeah.
Oh, I believe you on the sideline does not like what he sees. Miami has pretty much pushed his defense around the field. The 2 turnovers have produced points. This is not the way Buffalo has in the last 2 or 3 years played at home at all.
Well, this is running true to the hopes and the game plan of Don Shula's that we must force some turnovers and take advantage, and almost as if he wrote the script. Prophetic. And now Buffalo on a very important series here at home. 1:55 left in the half. Plenty of time for the Buffalo offense to try to get a score, and not just a field goal. Down 17-3. 2 quick interceptions, 2 scores here in the second quarter for Shula. And meanwhile, as we anticipate Buffalo getting the ball, Thurman Thomas with only 18 yards rushing. Both Higgs and Humphrey have more, each with 22. Stoyanovich. He doesn't give you much of a chance to return him, does he? Fuller will take the touchback.
This next 80 yards, very important. Here is the touchdown. Here's Keith Jackson. Here is Tony Page running the circle route. It works perfectly. Marino has his choice. Tight end kind of clears out the area. Page right underneath. Touchdown reception counts.
Injured Dolphin on that kickoff is Chris Green, number 42. Second-year defensive back from Illinois. In fact, he and Henry Jones, the starting safety for Buffalo, were teammates with the Illini at the corners.
Frankly, I'm not surprised on those kickoffs and kickoffs returns. There's not somebody lying out there on the turf after every one of them.
As close to mayhem as you can find in this sport. Thurman Thomas, we talked about him in the NFL Live segment. Again, in our opening today, Bob Trumpy, 18 yards rushing. He's got some more yardage catching, but has been held about as well as you can. Check this talent. Miami's defense. He has 4 catches, 34 yards. He's around 50 yards for the half, which isn't bad, but that's not up to his standards.
You can see, too, that they're still trying to get him the ball. He's got 4 catches, 7 carries. They are trying to get Thurman Thomas into this offense. And I agree, this hybrid defense that Miami has used with the combination of man-to-man coverage, zone coverage, Tom Olivadotti and his staff got it together, and we're going to try this week, and so far, it's slowed Buffalo down.
Well, they used to call Bob Trumpy the king of the beach out there at Glendale Junior College, but not anymore. Karch Karai next Saturday on NBC. The world's best volleyball player defends that title, king of the beach, against a strong field. Given the grueling round-robin tournament structure, does promise to be no day at the beach for these volleyball stars. That's next Saturday at 3:30 on NBC.
Karch Karai may be the most extraordinary athlete I have ever met.
He'd have been a star in almost any sport he would have selected.
Absolutely.
Yep. Keith Erickson, as Chris Green helped off the field. Keith Erickson, the great basketball star with UCLA and then later in the pros with the Lakers.
They said the same thing about he was an All-America volleyball player, and they said if he wanted to play baseball, he'd have been a great shortstop. I have the feeling they even look a little like Karai is that kind of talent.
His standing jump is extraordinary.
We'll give you a report on Chris Green as soon as we receive it. Kelly down the middle. Knocked away. Reaching in was Bestie Jackson. He's that extra defensive back that Abadati has used primarily to shadow Thomas, but then to help out as he does here.
You see, that's double coverage. It's Oliver on the inside, Bestie Jackson on the outside. Excellent execution of a defense that's been very well designed in this first half.
Incomplete, intended for Reed at the 28-yard line. This time it was Jackson again.
Miami was worried, the fans were worried that Louis Oliver was going to be matched up on Andre Reed, and Reed has had some big games. But this fifth defensive back that the Buffalo Bills are looking at really causing some problems for Buffalo and Jim Kelly.
Boy, this is about as quiet as you'll ever hear it at Rich Stadium. That'll bring them out of their seats as Andre Reed, a long strike to the 48-yard line. Louis Oliver, the tackler, 28 yards on that play.
Looked like J.B. Brown. They were trying to combo coverage once again. Reed is the slot receiver straight down the field. Oliver from the inside, J.B. Brown from the outside. Now, this Miami defense is going to be kind of in a prevent mode with 1:37 to go in the half, but that's what Buffalo is hoping.
Timeout taken by the Bills to stop the clock at the 1:37 mark. Reed is third catch today, his 498th. He's the all-time pass catcher in Buffalo history, and this is only his 8th season out of Kutztown, Pennsylvania.
With 1:37 to go in the second half, you can see the umbrella coverage here by the deep backs. You'll see the linebackers drop in coverage, and Reed just runs right down the seam. Time for Kelly, well found. He finds him, and Reed has the guts to stand in there and make that catch. I mean, it's hard to find receivers knowing they're about to get hammered that go up for that football. Reed is one tough receiver in this league.
And does anyone throw the ball better between those numbers than Kelly?
Kelly's number one.
This time he goes to the sideline. Reed! One-handed try. Bestie Jackson on the coverage. Now the ball here at Rich Stadium with the tricky winds, especially when once you throw the ball to the side, then the wind has more of an opportunity to play, and Kelly, of course, knows that best of all, and one of the reasons why down the center of the field he is so tough.
Yeah. And they don't practice in the stadium that much. They have a practice facility that's over there. Has a dome on it.
Over the middle and a first down at the 38-yard line is James Lofton. And the Bills will hurry to the line of scrimmage.
Again, finding weapons. He runs the slant. Brown is just a little bit late getting there, and Kelly again. Crisp.
1:12 left. Kelly from a crowd has to throw it away. Rob Awalt, acquired as a backup tight end with the injuries to Keith McKellar and Ed Thomas. Awalt, Plan B, picked from Dallas by Denver, and then as a free agent signed by Buffalo when they were in the tight end crisis. Hasn't caught a ball yet for the Bills. That stops the clock. 1:08 left in the half. Thurman Thomas to the 16-yard line before Louis Oliver can make the tackle.
Great job, Jim Kelly. Excellent coverage. Rolls to Thurman Thomas. You're going to see this entire thing unfold. You're going to see part of the pattern. There's Thomas. He goes behind the linebacker. Cox 51. Ron Cox underneath. Beautiful throw by Kelly for the first down.
Well, wait. Let's see if there's a flag on the play. I don't see one on the field.
Second charge. Timeout.
Oh, just a timeout.
40-second timeout.
The officials were huddling as if a penalty had been called. So one timeout left for Buffalo.
Well, you can see the familiarity between Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas. This is the way his pattern kind of ends up like that. He's just avoiding coverage, and Kelly stays with it. Now, Miami does a pretty good job of covering him here, but Thurman Thomas's biggest point, when Kelly runs right, Thomas runs right. He runs with the quarterback so they can make the completion. Big hit. First down. Again, Kelly orchestrating, move here, move there. Great touch on the football.
How about the touch by our director, John Gonzalez, producer, John Francis? They had the two principals in focus all the way. Thomas now, just 18 yards rushing, but 56 catching. And Buffalo has moved quickly downfield. And with just under a minute remaining, trailing 17-3, it's Kelly to work again. To the end zone, Thomas couldn't quite get there.
Oh, he broke over the top of the linebacker. Boy, if he doesn't break over the top of the linebacker, I think they've got 6. But let's give credit to Brian Cox, 51. He does an excellent job in coverage. He stays between the quarterback and the receiver, and Kelly's got to throw it over Thurman Thomas's head.
53 seconds left in the half. They don't get to Kelly, and finally ball batted incomplete. Jeff Frost, who has been the sack master of the Miami Dolphins, number 91, has led them the last several years, but doesn't have a sack this season, was pressuring Kelly on that one. 49 seconds. Buffalo still with one timeout left. This is the 10th play of their drive. Touchdown! Andre Reed. Reed's second touchdown of the season. And Buffalo indeed shows why they are the top offense in the NFL as they strike quickly here at the end of the half.
This offense just does not give up. Don Shula knows that. He told us yesterday they wear defenses out.
Christie adds the extra point, 17-10.
Andre Reed in the slot, left side, 83. An excellent move around Bestie Jackson, and look at the confidence Kelly has in Andre Reed. I mean, he knows he's going to get open. He throws it before Andre Reed looks. The ball is perfect. Here's Reed. It's all Andre Reed. And look at the confidence that Jim Kelly has. Watch Kelly when he throws it. How in the world can he suspect or hope that Andre Reed is going to get open? He trusts his athletic ability, and they get it done. You can't keep us down all day, he says.
Andre Reed, who leads the NFL in yardage receiving coming into this game, has 62 yards today, 4 catches. It's been a very happy weekend for him. He announced his engagement on Friday night. Well, his bride-to-be wore about the biggest smile Buffalo will ever see. Andre was almost like a little guy said, well, don't tell too many. I said, we'll only mention it once today. 80 yards and 10 plays. It took Kelly only a minute and 10 seconds. So with 45 seconds left in the half, it's Christie kicking to Williams and Craver. Williams. To the 24-yard line. Mark White made the tackle. Didn't take long. 70 seconds, 80 yards. And it's 17-10. Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents another NFL doubleheader. And we'll be telling you more about that, as well as reviewing all the scores and highlights. NFL Live, Domino's Pizza coming up at halftime. Bob of the gang with all the early games today. 39 seconds left in the half. You wonder if Shula, this deep in his own end and a 7-point lead, would want to take any chances or whether they just run it out. But they bring Marino into the shotgun. And Marino, sliding away from trouble, is across the 30-yard line.
Interesting to note that Keith Jackson not in this package. I think eventually, 4 or 5 weeks from now, I think Keith Jackson will be a part of this package.
Loose defense by Buffalo. Time running out in the half. Safety valve pass underneath to Bobby Humphrey, who juggles and gains 5. Talley and Jackson there. And just that little episode is enough for Shule to say, wait a minute, let's not do anything foolish, but he does use his final timeout. And from the 35-yard line, a chance for a long desperation play.
One Hail Mary.
See if he brings in Keith Jackson in this situation. Nope.
Right in front of him. One of the greatest centers in the history of the NFL, Dwight Stevenson.
I mean, they just everyone who played with and against Dwight Stevenson, who was in his first year as a assistant line coach, say that they don't make them like Stevenson, who played at Alabama, was an all-pro almost every year as the center. And when he was injured, before his time should have come, it just changed that whole offensive line. Miami dropped when Stevenson went down.
And they also have added to this coaching staff one Joe Green. So there is a great deal of prestige on the sideline for these young Miami Dolphin football players to learn from. Stevenson, technically, as to the fundamentals and the use of the hands and movement, one of the best. And Joe Green was probably one of the most brutal players on the field, just with sheer power, and off the field was just like that guy in the soft drink commercial. Hey, kid, and throws him his jersey.
Sweetheart. So they go with a flood formation to the right. Buffalo's deep defense back at their own 30-yard line. Marino up into that gale. And it is intercepted at the 35-yard line. And battling all the way to the 40 is James Williams as the first half comes to an end. Unbeaten Miami, unbeaten Buffalo, and the underdogs from South Florida have a 17-10 lead at the intermission, converting 2 interceptions into 2 touchdowns as Keith Jackson has debuted. And now to New York and Bob Costas.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like.
Just where we want them. We're in the defense that we wanted. We just started playing a little soft. But trust me, if they don't start running on this defense, the Buffalo Bills could have some problems.
Yeah, Juice, I agree with you. Thurman Thomas just 18 yards rushing, and this nickel package is very interesting. Again, 2 defensive linemen, 2 outside linebackers crashing the outside, 2 inside linebackers. I clear that, and 5 defensive backs. And that's where the problem lies. When you look at that defense, you think you can run the football. Up in the middle, it appears that this defense is vulnerable. But I think now that they've had a half to go in, look at the Polaroid pictures, and get conversation from the coaches upstairs, now they can decide how they go at this defense. I think the next change here, Dick, has to come from Alibadati. They got to find another little change in their defense here to keep the confusion level of Buffalo up.
So Don Shula's team with a 17-10 lead. And the Buffalo Bills with a halftime to look over those defensive schemes of the Dolphins and make their adjustments. And the team that has represented the American Football Conference in the last 2 Super Bowls, the Buffalo Bills, will have to rally from behind, and that's a fairly rare experience for Buffalo, especially here at home, where, as we documented earlier, they have dominated opponents since 1988. The measure of Marino and Kelly, 2 of the game's top quarterbacks, 2 of the class of 1983. And it'll be Marino who will be on center stage first as Steve Christie kicks it off to open the second half. Goes to Aaron Craver, the second-year man from Fresno State, and he does not make it back to the 20-yard line. Good coverage by the Buffalo Bills. Marino on the field, and we'll check as he brings on this offense whether or not Don Shula is elected to go with Keith Jackson as part of this initial group. Jackson, in case you're just joining us, signing as a free agent. No, it's Farrell Edmonds who's not happy. He realizes that with the acquisition of Jackson that his role may be more limited. And Jackson produced a touchdown catch, and a brilliant one it was in the first half.
17-10. Miami starts from just across the 17-yard line. And it's Higgs. And he does not get much more than a yard into the teeth of that Buffalo defense. Jeff Wright and Phil Hansen, the tacklers.
No gain, 2nd and 10.
Dick, the Buffalo offense struggling a little bit today against this hybrid Miami defense. Is up to the defense here at Buffalo now to gain control of this second half.
No gain on first down. Threw it away. Tony Martin, the closest white shirt. Good downfield coverage from Buffalo.
Well, you know, we came into this game and O.J. Simpson had talked to Webb. The offensive line of Miami done an outstanding job on Bruce Smith. I mean, keeping that young man at the line of scrimmage is extraordinary. Miami's done a great job all day long.
Marino has not converted a third down, 0 for 3, and this is a tough one deep in his own end. What a throw, and it's Bobby Humphrey. First down across the 35-yard line. Henry Jones made the stop. 18 yards on the play.
Well, that's the value of Bobby Humphrey. Here you see him sitting in the backfield. Watch when he gets out here in the flat, the move he puts on Darryl Talley. Talley initiates the contact. Humphrey wins the contact battle, bounces away from him, and Marino puts it right on the money for a big third down conversion. Now watch once again. Here he is. He's going to do this. But watch the contact when Talley hits him. If you're a receiver, you expect that contact, but you want to win it. And then Marino right on the money.
But all the news is not good for Miami. On the play, starting left guard Keith Sims, who's injured, helped off the field, and Gene Williams has replaced him. 17-10. Miami leads it. First series, second half. Marino gunning. Mark Duper with a catch at the Buffalo 45, but a flag is down where one would suspect holding. Illegal use of the hands against the Dolphins. And Miami, through Don Shula's career, often the least penalized teams in the NFL.
Illegal use of hands. Number 78, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's the offensive tackle. 78 on 78. Illegal use of the hands. Yeah, the hand up under the face mask. And that's why the penalty is thrown.
And a 10-yard ticket. And also the loss of nearly a 20-yard play. So they mark it back to the 26-yard line. You see Miami penalized 30 yards and Buffalo but 5.
Was that 5 penalties to 1? 5 against Miami, 1 against Buffalo? What a change.
Keith Jackson splits out, slots to the right. Marino underneath, complete to Fred Banks. Immediately hit by Darryl Talley.
A gain of 6.
Talley, the
Second and 13.
last couple of years. We understand that we're getting an injury report. Didn't get all of it there. Maybe cornerback Chris Green, a sprained knee. Remember on the kickoff after one of the Miami touchdowns, he will not return today. No report yet on Sims. Second down, 14. Incomplete, and Keith Jackson was ever so close to turning in another big play. That ball seemed to float on him.
Now, Miami's found something here in this formation. That's Shane Conlon, inside linebacker, 58 on Keith Jackson. Conlon cannot cover it. Even though there's help underneath, boy, that's almost a completion for a big play, and that's the weaponry that Dan Marino now has. You've got a guy big enough that he warrants a linebacker in coverage, fast enough and quick enough to look for a defensive back out there on a regular basis.
See, Keith Sims is back in the lineup. Yeah, Jackson told us yesterday, I think of myself more as a wide receiver than a tight end. Flag down. This is no play. No play, even though Humphrey makes the catch. It was whistled dead. Couldn't hear it over the crowd. Bruce Smith either drawn offside or got an early jump. Against Richmond Webb.
False start. Number 78 for the offense.
Richmond Webb
5-yard penalty.
trying to get that quick
Still third down.
jab step in position to stop Bruce Smith. That's the second penalty against him in this series.
78 on 78. I think Bruce Smith makes Richmond Webb move. Now, tackles, when they're out there on that island, Dick, they've got a choice. Watch the football, lose track of Bruce Smith, or watch Bruce Smith and listen for the snap. Bruce Smith tricked him that time and got 5 yards against the offensive tackle.
3rd and 19. It's caught downfield, and that'll be a first down on the ricochet. Mark Clayton comes up with it. Oh, what a play. Fred Banks had to go through his fingertips and deflect it downfield to Clayton for a 21-yard gain.
Marino flushed slightly, runs to his right. 97, Bennett loses containment, and then this rifle shot just bounces off the hands of Fred Banks, and Clayton does hang on.
Well, that's
tightly.
an interesting way to get your record. The Miami record, 511th catch on a carom to Clayton. James Williams on the tackle has not gotten up yet. So the Miami Dolphins, a big play. Their series still alive.
Bell on NBC is brought to you by Hertz #1 Club Gold. Hertz's fastest service now in more locations coast to coast. By Castrol Syntec, the new synthetic oil that protects in ways others can't. By your Allstate agent who wants to be your agent for life. You're in good hands with Allstate. And by Chevy Trucks, the trucks you can depend on, the trucks that last.
Welcome back in the battle for the leadership of the AFC East. Miami with a first down, and on that first down play, it's Steve Jackson on the quick hitter from quarterback Dan Marino. Cornelius Bennett on the coverage, a gain of about 8.
Now, Bennett is the best linebacker coverage man that Buffalo has. Again, Jackson, nice release. He expects the contact, separates from the defender. Marino's already shown a great deal of confidence in Keith Jackson for having just 3 practices under his belt, Dick.
He's a remarkable player, but this is truly a stunning start for a man who's only, been around the football for a few days this year. And accommodating himself being involved in this offense. That'll be a first down as Mark Duper leaping. I know it's Tony Martin on the far sidelines with a leaping catch. Martin with his first grab today, good for 10.
Separating. See Jackson on the inside. Zone coverage. Conlon underneath. Martin goes up for a nice catch. Another beautiful throw by Dan Marino, who has a remarkable touch on the football. That quick release. Just lobs it over that defender for the completion.
The other 2 undefeated teams, Dallas and Philadelphia, play tomorrow night. I wonder what Randall Cunningham and the Eagle players watching this game must be thinking as they see Keith Jackson. They know best of all of his talent.
Good.
On first down, throws it away. Martin, the closest. They're going to throw a flag on that. Oh, and Marino can't believe it that they're going to call that grounding. He says, I wasn't in danger of being sacked. I did throw it away, but, oh, that is a tough call.
The referee is the only official in the
Intentional grounding. Number 13 of the offense.
The referee is the only official that can make that ruling. In his determination to avoid a loss of yardage, Dan Marino threw the ball away. Who's threatening him? Bailey is coming close. Boy,
that's a tough call.
That's a very tough call. I'm sure Don Shula.
Lots of down, 10-yard penalty.
Usually overlooked. I mean, that unless somebody's really right on you, almost making the physical contact. Not much of an argument from Shula.
Let's see what.
Oh, whoops.
I think I even heard that.
So it'll be Loss of down and 10, so 2nd and 20. Back at the 42-yard line. Going long. Martin, he's got it at the 10. He's stopped at the 6. What a throw into the wind. That ball was wobbling, and Martin on the dead fly able to snare it for a 36-yard gain.
Dan Marino shows so much confidence in these receivers. Top of the screen, you see the little separation there by Martin. Williams has excellent speed, but Marino just puts it perfectly where the ball is 3/4 of the way there. When the receiver looks back, it's right on the money. Huge play again by Dan Marino. They have made the big plays today when they've been necessary.
And the other thing that Keith Jackson brings to this offense is he's going to make everyone else better because of the threat that he poses.
He'll draw a lot of coverage.
Barely got this one off, and flags are down as Marino guns it to Page, and Page cartwheels in. It's a touchdown if it counts. There are flags down. Another penalty against Miami.
Illegal formation, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Boy, you don't see this often against Don Shula with so many calls going against the Dolphins.
No, they're not getting any break whatsoever.
50 yards, 8 penalties against Miami today.
Here's the formation they're looking at. That's Page. That's the running back.
Maybe the 2 men wide are not. One of those has to be on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he's got to be on the line of scrimmage. Not enough guys on the line of scrimmage. So the outside receiver is not on the line of scrimmage. That's an excellent call by the officials.
So
there's no question about that.
5-yard penalty, 1st and goal from the 11. Through Martin's hands, and there wasn't a blue jersey close.
You know why? Keith Jackson drew double coverage in the end zone. There you see him coming into the picture. He drew double coverage. They dropped Martin, and then Martin dropped the ball.
So that seems to be the formation. And Duper and Clayton left. That's Jackson in the slot and Martin to the right.
Watch what happens. Watch what. See the double coverage there at the top? Boy, this kid has gotten instant respect from Buffalo.
2nd and goal. Duper. Not much there. Only 1 yard on that play as Nate Odoms and Kirby Jackson collaborated on the tackle. 3rd and goal from the 10.
That was basically the same play to the other side. Only this time, there wasn't the attention to the receiver in the end zone.
Marv Levy's team down 17-10, but he knows, and so does this big crowd, that Buffalo has owned the second half in the first 4 games this year, outscoring the opposition 97-14. That quick huddle, no huddle offense of Buffalo wears down defenses. Humphrey. It is Humphrey, touchdown. Oh, you saw it all the way. Another flag is down. Does this one count?
Yes, baby, yes!
Against Buffalo, declined, and Don Shula once again enjoys a 2-touchdown advantage.
4 wide receivers, single running back, Bobby Humphrey. Marino locks on him. An excellent pattern run. It's 56 Darryl Talley in coverage. Humphrey does an outstanding job. That's his 5th catch of the day.
9-yard touchdown play. Marino's 3rd touchdown throw of this game. Bobby Humphrey may have missed the flight, but he isn't missing much today. Stoyanovich adds the extra point. And with 9:23 remaining in the 3rd quarter, Marino to Humphrey. And the Miami Dolphins lead favored Buffalo 24-10. It's a stunning score at this point, 24-10, and it has been a stunning first game for Miami for Keith Jackson, and all of a sudden Bobby Humphrey, obviously we're going to hear a lot about him this year.
Yeah, I think Jackson is part of that. I mean, he commands so much respect from the defense, you just can't turn him loose in your defensive backfield. So now Humphrey behind him does a good job, the full wide receiver.
Wait a minute, you saw Humphrey all the way. How come, I mean, you can call him, and the Bills couldn't even stop that play? This guy's a...
No, that's a play they've been running for the last 35 years in the NFL. But the thing, I think, Miami comes, I'm so shocked at this score. Miami comes into this game for respect, and man, they've gotten it to this point.
Again, Stoyanovich deep into the end zone where Fuller takes the touchback. And that was the old Tony Nathan, that little circle pattern over the middle that they've worked so well through the Shula years. Kick used to run it.
This is exactly what they want to do with Bobby Humphrey, and that's why he's in that spot, and they had to let go Jim Jensen. As you look at the formation, you'll see the linebacker coverage, but watch the pattern by Bobby Humphrey. And again, Marino, great confidence in his receivers. He stays with Bobby Humphrey all the way through this. Excellent move. Nice, big, strong running back. Drags him into the end zone for another score.
Kelly, he comes out gunning. And it's Lofton spinning out to the 38 and an 18-yard gain. Just a little footnote on the play, the touchdown play, and the fact is that Marino thrown it a little sooner, the coverage by the linebacker was there for a tackle at the 5, but he waited that extra step so when he did throw it, he gave his runner a chance to be able to break into the end zone.
Yeah, didn't he tell us yesterday that we run timing routes here in Miami and the receivers have to get used to that?
Thurman Thomas. Tough to bring down, gets it to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 7.
7-yard run, 2nd and 3.
This is just the first time Buffalo has their hands on the ball in this second half. You wonder, you come out and you're hoping that psychologically you can stop the opponent and get something going. So this is a huge drive for Buffalo.
You saw Thomas move out triple left. This is what worked so well against the 49ers, and this one deflected downfield, incomplete.
Excellent double coverage. Cross on the outside, Offerdahl on the inside.
Ryan Cox, who was a 5th-round pick, who was developed after that learning experience as a rookie a season ago into a top-notch linebacker. Has 5 sacks this year, 3 forced fumbles, an interception. The AFC Defensive Player of the first month of this year. Another first down out at the 45 of Buffalo as Vincent brings down Brad Lamb.
11-yard gain, first down.
Single coverage. Vincent, the rookie, on Brad Lamb, just a little squaring. Kelly looks all over the field to find these open receivers. You got to keep covering them.
Thomas. Ooh. He runs into trouble as number 92, David Griggs, with a solid hit.
Making a stop.
No gain.
Well, O.J. Simpson said my Buffalo feels they can run against this defense. They've not really had a sustained running attack. Griggs, a linebacker, being handled there by House Ballard at 345 pounds, makes the tackle.
Thomas averaging less than 3 a carry. He's drawing single coverage, and Troy Vincent brings him down at the 30, but hardly a meek effort from Brad Lamb, who has 3 catches today.
Came in with just 2 on the season. Again, Kelly looks over the entire field. Now watch him look over here to Lamb. Make sure that the safety is not there to help underneath. Yeah, that's a catch. He was down. Half a catch. It counts as a whole one.
Deep downfield. Almost a touchdown as the tight end Awald was right there. Ball was as well. Offerdahl having to trail the tight end.
I don't know what's wrong with Pete Metzelaars. I've not seen him in this first drive of the second half, and of course they're already missing McKellar. Again, Kelly really, there's Metzelaars on the sideline. No injury report on him yet.
Kelly, plenty of time. And now throws it away as he felt pressure coming hard from the rookie Marco Coleman, number 90.
We understand Metzlar's bruised ribs is the report now we receive, and questionable as to whether or not he can play this second half. So Kelly now faces 3rd and 10 at the Miami 30, trailing by 2 touchdowns. We're in the 3rd period, 6:44 to go. His 35th pass of the day, Kelly. He dumps it off to Thomas. Look at that.
What a block.
Thurman Thomas, who should have been stopped at the line of scrimmage, and Steve Tasker, that special team star for Buffalo, feeling back to knock off a Dolphin.
One thing about this Buffalo team, you got to tackle them the first time. Now watch Tasker 89. Boom! Second week in a row he got one. That's Louis Oliver. A shoulder blade shot.
It was about 35 pounds heavier than Tasker. The Tasker, all tough. Boom.
We don't have to run this one again because tonight on your local news, you'll be able to watch it all over the country. The choir boy will cold cut Giovanni.
He'd win on What's My Line. Brian Cox helped off the field for Miami. So Thurman Thomas, with help from a friend, but ripping his way out of a tackle at the line of scrimmage, has the first down at the 18 of Miami. 6 catches, as you can see. Rookie Dwight Collier, number 50, replaces Cox. Kenneth Davis, the backup for Thomas, and he drives inside the 15 before Offerdahl and Williams can make the tackle. Kenneth Davis, last week we had Anthony Q. Newman, the defensive back of the Los Angeles Rams, who says that because of his father, a pool shark, teaching him at age 3, he is the top pool player in the NFL. And he said, I'd heard about that guy up in the East, way up there in New York, Davis. Might take him on. Kenneth Davis says, yeah, put up this green. Let's see. We'll have a match. Kelly. Incomplete, and Troy Vincent, the rookie cornerback, with an excellent play diving to deny Brad Lamb.
Lamb getting a lot of attention from Jim Kelly. Single coverage by the rookie Troy Vincent. Now that's recovering. He was beaten and comes back and gets underneath that receiver.
You can see why the scouts love him, the way he exploded at 4.29 speed. 6 minutes to go in the third. 3rd down and 5, and the toss to Thomas, and he's got to block it. But an excellent play coming in from the backside from Brian Cox, who had left the field for a play. Made the tackle from behind, but it appears that Thomas picked up the necessary yardage for a first down.
Watch this block again. Here's the choir boy once again. Watch this block. Oh, I mean, that's on Marco Coleman, who was close to 270 pounds.
Steve Tasker, 5'9" and 183. 1st and goal, Buffalo. Misdirection to Thomas. Breaks another tackle and trips at the 5. Defensive play made by John Offerdahl, and coming up, Jarvis Williams from a safety spot.
Now this is where whatever defense Buffalo is facing is at a tremendous disadvantage. This drive started at the 20. Relentless offense. Now you're getting a defense worn out.
2nd and goal from the 5. 14th play of the drive for Kelly. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Didn't have a chance as charging through was Offerdahl again. Offerdahl, who doesn't often blitz, but he's worked that play very effectively today. That's the 2nd time he's forced Kelly to throw as he was being hit, and one led to an interception and a subsequent Miami touchdown.
Yeah, both have worked.
Lofton way out to the right. Lamb split left, and Thomas in motion. 3rd and goal. Intercepted. It is Louis Oliver again. Does he have a touchdown? Kelly can't get him. Louis Oliver all the way. 102 yards.
Oh, don't celebrate too much here. Intended receiver, Thurman Thomas. Jim Kelly stuck with him. You'll see Thomas running the motion.
They're now saying, Bob, excuse me, because this is a historic, perhaps, run by Oliver. 105 yards. Kelly just misses him. That'll be close to an all-time record. I don't believe it is the NFL mark, but it's got to be very close.
He's the guy who got hit by Tasker, stays in the ball game, makes an unbelievable play.
Now they're changing it to 103 yards. We've got 3 official distances, and at 103 it will tie the record set by Vincey Glenn of the Chargers in 1987. 103.
It's a 14-point swing is what it is.
Oh, that's Buffalo about to be back in the game, down by only 7, and instead it's 6 points the other way on a record-tying interception return, 103 yards, as Shula hugs his defensive coordinator. 2 interceptions today by Louis Oliver. The first led to a score by Miami. He took care of business himself. 103 yards, a record-tying interception return for a score. Stojanovic driving the ball a little shorter this time. Taken by Kenneth Davis. And Davis still battling. Finally dragged down at the 25-yard line. Jim Kelly, as soon as he threw it, knew he was in trouble.
Absolutely. You can see when this ball leaves his hand, Kelly jumps up as if to say, let me have it back. Oh, no. Cover right. He does not make the tackle.
That was a 14-point play. And Marv Levy, what else can you do? Miami 31, Buffalo 10. Louis Oliver getting plenty of positive attention along the sidelines and getting ready to go back for more. 103. And for a moment we thought we had a record at 107, but officially 103 yards. And now Buffalo in a real challenge. Second half down by 3 scores. And against most teams you'd say this game is over. Against Buffalo,
you never know. I did a game here 2 years ago against Denver. They scored 21 points in 77 seconds. You never know.
Now Kelly, 2nd and 10. He's 20 for 39 today. And it's on his head as he delivers that one. 3rd and 10.
Deflected at the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10.
Almost unstoppable the first 4 games of the season, even against a very good team, the San Francisco 49ers at Candlestick. But today, Miami, not noted for its defensive strength in the last few years, has come up with a terrific plan, and it has stymied Kelly so far. Sacked at the 12-yard line, the first sack of the day for the Dolphins, and David Griggs has his 3rd of the season.
Looked like they were trying to set up a screen to Kenneth Davis. He could not get separated from all the defensive linemen, Dick. It's a half roll by Jim Kelly. You see 23 kind of sneaking out of the backfield, and then all of a sudden, Kelly can't find him. Griggs and T.J. Turner, 95 right there, loss of 10 yards.
Chris Moore to punt it. And contact before the snap. Scott Miller will return for Miami.
Well, you know, this is a hockey area of this country. This is a 4-point game for the winner, you know.
False start. Number 35, the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Not much going in the right direction for Buffalo at this point. So Miller moves up to the 50-yard line, anticipating the punt from Chris Moore. Moore grew up in the same small Georgia town as Ray Guy. Drives it out. Miller on the line drive at the 44. And he's all the way to the Buffalo 29-yard line. John Cena, the rookie from Arizona, tackle made the stop. 33-yard punt. Fighting the wind and a 13-yard return. And a timeout. 3:34 left in the 3rd quarter. Breeders' Cup month on NBC, and there's a thoroughbred, Jim Kelly. He's going to have to really rally down the home stretch and trying to get
some of his key blockers to support him.
He should be talking to his defense. The only way Buffalo gets back in the game is turnovers now by this Buffalo defense.
On first down from just inside the 30, Higgs dropped for a loss as Phil Hansen played at North Dakota State. Beefed up this year. His second season, penetrates and makes the hit at the 31.
Now this is where the experienced quarterback like Dan Marino will use every second he can of the play clock. He will be very deliberate, even though there's 3:06 to go in the third quarter. No hurry here whatsoever.
Indianapolis has taken the lead from Tampa Bay. Jackson in. He's in the slot right. Self-preservation slide at the 23.
One thing Buffalo has not done is put a lot of pressure on Dan Marino or get sacks. They had Smith on the inside. They ran a game well handled by the guys up front. Sims even throws him to the ground. Not to say that he has not been a factor in this game. He's gotten a lot of attention, but he has not been in the quarterback's face. And you can see the sacks today.
Hasn't had a sack against Miami since 1987, and Richmond Webb has shut him out now for 4 years. It's 3rd and 4. Clayton in motion.
Blitz.
There's Jackson. Flags down, and Jackson inside the 15-yard line. Kirby Jackson, the defender, 10 yards if it counts.
Looks like it's going to be offensive pass interference.
Pass interference, offense, number 88.
Keith Jackson using his hands illegally, apparently, to work his way open.
Yeah, he pushes off. Again, they have him separated. You can see what happens. Here's 88, Keith Jackson. You can see what happens on the pattern. Yeah, he does push off. There's no question about that. They don't allow tight ends to do that. They think like they're picking on a little guy.
Everyone else can get away with it.
Yeah, 6'2", 250, can't push 5'10", 180. They'll call a penalty on it all the time.
So after the almost penalty-free start, first 3 games, Miami guilty of a lot of calls today. Bruce Smith moves inside. It's Bobby Humphrey. That was the play that got them the touchdown. He's to the 25-yard line, bringing up 4th down and giving Pete Stoyanovich a little better shot at a field goal. Kirby Jackson made the tackle, and here's Stoyanovich. He's been good from 30 yards on his only attempt today. He's missed, as we said, only once all year, 11 out of 12. Last year, he missed only 6 times, 37 tries. This one will be with the tricky winds, just inside the 43-yard line. Wind or no wind, almost dead center. Stoyanovich from 43 yards, and the Dolphins build their lead to 34-10. Tonight, an all-new Secret Service on NBC based on the actual case of a female undercover agent kidnapped. Find out how far the service went to free her. Then on the all-new eyewitness video, see incredible footage of firefighters inside a blazing inferno, and that'll be followed by the comedy movie premiere. Steve Martin stars in My Blue Heaven. Well, that's the kind of day we have here in Western New York. 80,368. This is an all-time Richmond record here at Rich Stadium.6 unused tickets.
Who are those 36?
Yeah, they'll put
Deport
them in. That's right. They're on their way. They're out on the lake.
Yes. They better have a darn good excuse.
Well, what do you do here? It's 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and even these ardent Buffalo fans have to wonder how much can we expect with less than a minute remaining in the third period? It'll take some breaks. You say it'll take some breaks as Denver, or the Buffalo defense is going to have to turn it over. I had Denver on my mind because we were talking about Denver playing that tough AFC championship game where they allowed Buffalo no offensive touchdowns, and how all the defensive coordinators have been studying the films of that game, including Olivedati.
As a matter of fact, since the ball flows off the tee again, Tom Olivedati told me that there were 64 snaps defensively, Denver against Buffalo last year in that game. There were 34 snaps of base defense, 30 other nickel snaps. Of those 30 nickel snaps, only 10 blitzes. And if you talk to anybody around the league, they will say Denver blitzed
every play.
Buffalo on every play. Did not happen. He went back and looked at that. He's found something that works. And NFL offensive and defensive coordinators are copycats. This will appear again against Buffalo's offense.
Yeah, Miami fans know well that's been a long time since you've been able to praise the defense and the defensive coordinator. This has not been an easy position. But today, the job apparently has been done very well, at least to this final minute of the third period. Stojanovic has the wind now gusting into that kick to the 10 to Eddie Fuller. Fuller, good spinning move to the 35 to the 37. Good run by the former star at LSU. Next weekend on NBC, our Sunday is an NFL doubleheader Sunday beginning at 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live. You'll see Seattle, Dallas, Emmitt Smith, the NFL rushing champion of a year ago. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. That's always a bicep contest. And we'll have these Bills out against the Raiders. Raiders looking for their first win this weekend with a new offensive signal caller. Tom Walsh replaces Terry Robisky. Steve Jackson pushing Thomas out of bounds. The rushing, and they are the #1 rushing team in the NFL. They were last year and again this year, but no yards rushing in the second quarter. And now having to try to dig themselves out of this huge deficit, you don't expect them to run much the rest of the way.
No.
40 yards. 29 seconds left in the third. Thomas again. 50-yard line and a first down. Flag down. We may have a face mask on Jackson.
Now, Dick, we came into this game talking about all the great weapons that the Buffalo offense has had. Today, we've seen all the great weapons that Miami now has put on the field.
Face mask, 5 yards. Number 24, defense, first down.
Bobby Humphrey being one of those. And this is exactly what Denver knew they had, but there's just a lot of emotional unhappiness there. When you add Mark Clayton, who's been on the injured list, he returns today. You've got Mark Cooper. You've got some young receivers like Banks and Martin that have a lot of talent, and then put Keith Jackson in the mix. That's a pretty good pass. Down the middle it goes to Reed, who is hit but holds on at the 21. Well, that's a terrific effort by Reed not to fumble as the final seconds tick away here in the third. The score, and that was the 500th catch of Andre Reed, is the Miami Dolphins up big. Milestone catch, but empty under the circumstances for Andre Reed. His 500th. He's done it all in 8 years. When you talk about all-time receivers, he's still very young. And he takes, well, this will get you old, though.
Yes, it will. It'll certainly slow you down crossing the middle, but he does make the catch.
Beyonce Cindy.
She's watching the replay there. Makes her Andre
Reed has 31 catches this year. He's on a 100-catch pace. This is Steve Tasker on a reverse. And a little tough guy from Northwestern, and he was as happy as the Stanford people. James Lofton, as his Northwestern team, got a Big Ten win yesterday. John Offerdahl made the tackle. And you see the other scores on our 10-minute ticker. And as you come to appreciate, you know, every 10 minutes you're going to get all the scores in the NFL on our NBC football telecast. Early in the fourth quarter, Miami with a 34-10 lead. Miami, heavy underdogs coming in. Kelly throws it away.
Intentional grounding, yes.
Yep, that's consistent. Dale Hamer called it on Marino earlier.
Intentional grounding, number 12 of the offense. 10 yards, loss of down.
What's fair for 13? It's fair for 12. He called an audible here, but there was excellent man-to-man coverage. He just heaves it. And that's to avoid a loss of yardage, therefore the loss of down.
And the toughest of penalties, loss of down plus 10-yard deficit, as you see how Miami has built this sizable advantage. Down the middle, Kelly, right into the arms of you-know-who, Louis Oliver again, his third. How far will he go with this one? He's at the 40. Got Lofton to beat, and Oliver's running out of gas anyway. He looked as if he wanted somebody to find somebody to tackle me. I don't want to go that far. 54 yards. Louis Oliver has himself some offense today. He has over 150 yards in interception offense.
Flags are being thrown out here where the tackle was made, but he's been a consistent open receiver for Jim Kelly. Unfortunately, he plays for the other team. But that's the case of Kelly trying to make a big play. Down by this score, he's trying to force things by the offense, and it just has not worked. He forced the one where Oliver intercepted, ran it back 103 yards, and he forced this one.
Well, he manages a vocal group 3 times love, so he kind of thinks in threes anyway. Louis Oliver from Florida, where he teamed with Jarvis Williams. They were safety mates there with the Gators.
Andre Reed is the intended receiver. And it looks like
personal
the
foul.
ball sails on him.
92.
And then again.
The interception, 15 yards from the dead ball spot. First down, Miami.
Kelly tries to make the tackle. That's the problem with throwing those interceptions. You got to tackle the guy that makes the interception.
Yeah, about as bad a day as Kelly has had to suffer through for quite some time. David Griggs guilty of the personal foul at the end of that interception, so they mark off 15 to the 37. So Louis Oliver, time out. 3 big interceptions for Oliver, who has always been a ball hawk. In '89 as a rookie, he had 4, and he's had 5 each of the last 2 seasons, and 3 today. Higgs slipping outside and then hit from behind at the 40. A gain of 3. Cornelius Bennett the tackle. And Miami, when they've gotten the interception today, they've been able to convert. This is the 4th, and they have 3 touchdowns, 1 all the way, 103 yards by Mr. Louis Oliver.
Yeah, you know, the score stands. Buffalo has had the lead in the AFC East for something like 69 straight weeks or something, going back to 1988. It's remarkable that they're about to lose it. You got the numbers for me, Mr. Enberg?
Well, it's been since September 24th, 1990. 2 full years, well over 2 full years, that they have owned the top of the AFC East. Higgs protecting the ball as Talley and company go after him. Shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and about 2.
There it is. 69 of the last 70 weeks, 36 straight. And Don Shula's been trying to acquire talent to bring his team up to the level of the Buffalo Bills, and that acquisition of Keith Jackson may have been the biggest part of the puzzle.
That is a trade to bring about talk for a season, and where, I mean, the free agency move that'll be enough to have fodder all week long as to just how good now is Miami, although it's been the defense that has sparked the offense, but then when they got the ball with Jackson and Humphrey, Higgs met right at the line of scrimmage. He drives forward. It'll be close to a first down. They're going to spot it right at the 46-yard line. That'll be shy by a half yard. Talley made the stop, and here comes Joe Prokoff.
There was also in Miami some complaining by some players about the acquisition of Keith Jackson. I wonder if they'd like to take those words back now.
Well, Farrell Edmonds, who may not play as much, was one, talked about being traded, and that may be an accommodation for him. Mark Clayton was outspoken. Why should he get all that money? And as Dan Marino said, Jackson's liable to make a lot more money for all of us.
Even I can figure that out.
Hicks back at the 15. They don't go after the kicker as Prokop spins it to the 15. And Hicks dragged down after a 4-yard return by Mike Williams, a 39-yard punt. Timeout with 11:31 to go. Well, it was a day designed for Miami. Don Shula liked it when he wakened this morning. Not too cold, just right. Now Kelly. And that pass sailing low and away as he tries to hit Rob Awol. Now, just a look ahead for both teams. For Miami, Don Shula's schedule reads this way: Atlanta at home, then they have a bye week before they play Indianapolis, the Jets, Indianapolis again, and then Buffalo. So, arguably, they're in line to possibly still be perfect the next time these two teams meet. That's Watkins getting into the open crease for a catch at the 38-yard line. And if you're a Buffalo fan, the schedule for Marv Levy's team next up are the Raiders, Jets, and England. New England a combined 0-11 this season. And we'll have Buffalo and the Raiders out at the Coliseum for you next week as the second half of our doubleheader. Thurman Thomas. 2 men couldn't get him, but the third did, and it was Lippert Hobley who tries to steal the ball as well. And so far, I don't see any whistle. That may be a touchdown.
Nobody motions anything.
Now official moves in and marks the ball down.
It's a little late. There's also a player down.
Don't forget Don Wedge, one of the officials, was injured in the first half and left, so the officiating crew shy a man. Kent Cole, and that's
center. Oh no,
he is one of the best, the 3-time Pro Bowler, who often is asked. He's so good. He often is asked to block his man without any help. And now a conversation that may, well, Hamer, is it a touchdown?
The ball was fumbled, recovered by Miami. The whistle blew when Miami had the ball. First down, Miami.
So that could have been a touchdown, but they didn't use the I word, inadvertent, but that's what happened. And Hobley doesn't get a touchdown, but does get the fumble recovery. Let's see.
We're going to see the injury, too. I think this is a screen. Kent Hull is the man out there in front, and it looked like he's holding his hamstring. As you see the ball pulled away from Thurman Thomas. In former years, I seem to recollect we used to have a machine that might determine that was forward progress was stopped
or ball down. Or it might have been down.
Yes. Let's see if he's hit anything down. No, he's not. Oh, I think his rear end was on the ground.
You know what? The nice thing about all this is if it ever comes back and you're old enough, you could get a job doing that. I'll recommend you because you really seem to like it a lot.
I like it a whole bunch. But this is a huge injury to the Buffalo Bills' chance. They're losing the football game, but losing a guy who has not missed a game in 8 years as a Buffalo Bill.
Well, at least it didn't appear to be a knee. It looked to be a hamstring. So, on a day where about as much has gone right for Miami and wrong for Buffalo as one could even have imagined or dreamed, it has developed in front of a record-crowded Rich Stadium today of over 80,000, 80,290.
Well, these people are just not used to seeing Buffalo lose in Buffalo, are they?
Yeah, well, in Miami, what, a couple touchdown underdog, and they come in here, and they came in with the design. And Tom Olivadotti, I would guess he might be in line for a game ball.
Absolutely. The interesting thing is talking to the defensive coaches, they said, you know, we tried to design a bunch of different stuff and accommodate everything to accommodate Buffalo. What we said is, gentlemen, here's the package. Go out and play it, have fun. And the players liked it, so it was executed better. Frank Reich is warming up.
Thurman Thomas was just ticketed 15 yards for unsportsmanlike conduct. He obviously was arguing that he was down, that should not have been a fumble. And Reich apparently will let Jim Kelly rest with his thoughts. And looking for the turnovers, and they've earned them for the most part. And it's now Mark takes around the right side to the 17-yard line. This is the kind of game that Buffalo fans accustomed to be seeing, but with the home team well in front running away. 34-10 Miami.
No question about that. Buffalo has just never figured out exactly the combination of coverages and fronts that Miami has put up there defensively. This whole football team revolves around that offense and how it's up and down the field. They have not had the ball for an extended period of time today, and therefore Miami's had all those chances with the turnovers.
4 interceptions thrown by Kelly today. Tie a personal high or low. Diggs again. Worst loss of last year for Buffalo came at Kansas City when the Chiefs took them apart 33-6. But you really have to hunt to find a home game where Buffalo has had to swallow as hard as they will today. 34-3 at Rich Stadium prior to today, and one of those losses was at the end of last year where it was just a nothing game for them. They'd already clinched all the possibilities.
Breaks a string of 17 straight home wins against AFC East opponents, too.
9:27 to go. Marino. And it's Duper. Couldn't quite get himself turned around as Marino had to read the coverage and throw in that spot, and Duper didn't see it quite the same way. Now, if Marino should throw, as Hull goes back to the locker room, if Marino should throw another touchdown pass, it would be 4, and that would tie him for an NFL record with Johnny Unitas. I think it's around 18 or 19 games with 4 touchdown passes.
Well, that's one of the few he doesn't own. NFL record.
In this case, it's 4th down, and Stojanovic will try a 39-yard, make that 34-yard field goal. He is some kicker. What a weapon he has. So you talk about offense, you got to throw Stojanovic in there too. He's offense to go with the Jacksons and Humphreys and Dupers and on and on. Miami, Miami.
On NBC is brought to you by Domino's. Call Domino's Pizza right now, and you'll be enjoying our unlimited toppings pizza deal when the game is over.
John Kelly, as Buffalo anticipates the kickoff, getting a little work on that elbow, and I don't believe it's serious, but under the circumstances, Frank Reich apparently will take over on this next possession. As Stojanovic sends it to the goal line. Kenneth Davis to the 17-yard line. Louis Oliver. A day to remember for him. The hat trick. What do you call that, Bob? Is that the funky chicken? One of those.
I'm not sure. We're not at the same age. I used to do a dance like that called the pony or the mashed potato. I'm not sure.
I think it might be the schottish. Up there in upper Minnesota, there, I think the Finns do that one.
It's a winning dance. We know that.
Frank Reich is the quarterback. Filled in so admirably for Kelly. This one is more just an exercise to get him some work as Andre Reed adds another catch to his impressive total. He's got 6 today, 32 on this young season.
And he's getting up slow too. Buffalo can't have these guys getting up limping, and they tape Jim Kelly's elbow. I think it's more from trying to make tackles than throwing the football today. That right elbow. I mean, when you make tackles, you get injured.
This is Kenneth Davis. He's met by Troy Vincent. Rides him down. As you see, 8.5 minutes to go. Pick up about 4 for Davis, who's from Temple, Texas. Joe Green's hometown. And that's Louis Oliver in some pain on the sidelines. Mitch Farad has taken over at center for the injured Kent Hull. Farad can play anywhere on that line.
That is a big drop between Kent Hull, many-time Pro Bowler, and Mitch Farad.
Let's not be knocking old Mitch Farad. He's got a touchdown catch already this year. And here's what happens to Oliver. He comes in second on that tackle. It looks like he jammed the right knee. Not a lot of padding there.
No. Actually, there's an NFL rule that you've got to wear knee pads, and a lot of players they kind of overlook that rule and don't wear the knee pads. But part of this may be fatigue. You do tend to feel a little poorly when you're ahead 37-10. You've scored on a 103-yard interception and return.
Saw the 224 pounds for Oliver, a man who runs as well as he does, and of course everyone thought he'd be picked in the first 10, and he was surprised he was the 25th player selected. That's why he picked the number 25, just to remind himself that he was around that long.
Yeah.
And he's played like a top 10 pick today, hasn't he?
But you know how the game has changed. In my day, the best defense I thought in the NFL was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jack Lambert was that size and played middle linebacker. And now those guys are playing free safety.
You saw the scorers go by, and a couple of finals in as Minnesota rallying from 20-0 down, beat the Bears 21-20. So Dennis Green's Vikings are now 4-1. New Orleans has beaten Detroit 13-7. Right, who is tight end Rob Awol. Mark Sander of Louisville made the tackle. Indianapolis trying to pick up a win against Tampa Bay, and Atlanta, who will next face Miami, has beaten Green Bay 24-10. Awol with the catch. That's Reich just going with the short stuff, which Miami is giving.
I'm a big proponent of the gimme. It's a phrase used in golf, Dick. I'll familiarize you with it in a minute here.
No, they gave you anything these days. Right goes down and flags go with it. What kind of gimme are you in favor of?
Well, when you have just 18-inch punt left, you know, just to be gentlemanly, you tell your opponent, the rest of that's good. That's a gimme. My estimation.
That was my problem. They wouldn't give
me
me
any. We have 2 fouls on the play.
The rest of this game is a gimme.
Number 79 for the defense, holding number 74 the offense. Penalties offset, first down.
Larry Webster, a rookie from Maryland. The Miami player Glenn Parker, 74 of Buffalo. NFL Live Old Spice post-game report. O.J. Simpson here from Buffalo. Bob Costas and Bill Parcells back at our New York studios with the scores and highlights of early games. 7 minutes to go yet here in Buffalo. Must seem endless for these Bills fans as Wright cannot extricate himself, and Brian Cox has his 6th sack of the year. He started in the NFL Elite today with 7. Chris Dolman for the Vikings leading the NFL, and another injury, and that's not good news for either side, as suddenly it seems every play carries an injury. Marco Coleman, rookie number 1 pick from Georgia Tech, is down for Don Shula. Oliver with some ice on the right knee.
You mentioned Brian Cox. He had the sack there. I have a feeling that if this kid has any success, this kid is a movie script. His life to this point is a movie script.
So you ask him about his friends. Where are your friends now? He said they're in 3 places.
Dead, jail, or dealing drugs. But he says, I still go back there and see those people. They helped me in college. They sent me money when I needed it. Said, they're my friends. They'll be my friends forever. But they celebrate my lifestyle, and I've tried to convert them. He could not convert his father.
So he says, now my role is to go back and try to influence young people to follow my path. Football was his escape. He has his degree. He's a family. He was a father at 15. He said, and it taught me responsibility, and I'm taking care of my family, and I like to take care of others, not let them walk the path of his friends that often produces such disastrous results. So he is some example, Brian Cox. Right into a crowd as he's hit again as he tries to deliver the ball, and it was Cox who was around the football.
Frank Reich doesn't play much. He comes in to mop up or when Jim Kelly is injured, but Frank Reich and Jim Kelly used to be absolutely inseparable. Since Frank has gotten married, had a couple of kids, I mean, he's got his own family. But this guy may be the most valuable player off the field for Jim Kelly in this Buffalo football team.
On 3rd and long.
There he is again.
Cox all over that ball. So Buffalo unable to move it, as Cox has his second big play.
He made an interesting admission to us last night, I thought. Ron Cox said, I do not like to lift weights, and I'm not strong enough to play this game.
But I'm not intimidated either.
But I'm not intimidated.
Yeah, it's one of those personal stories as we sat there just mesmerized by his comments about the toughness of his background and what has happened, and yet the strength of the man. Miller wisely lets that one bounce, and it's down at about the 32, 33-yard line. 42-yard punt by Moore. And Matt Darby, a rookie from UCLA, did out. There's Brian Cox, a couple more sacks for this talented second-year man from East St. Louis. He said, don't forget, Jackie Joyner-Kersey's from my hometown as well. Timeout. Scott Mitchell takes over for Dan Marino at quarterback. And the handoff to James Saxon. No, it's Aaron Craver, his first carry of the year, and he carries well out to the 40-yard line. And Dan Marino strolling the sidelines now. He's gone by to congratulate his receivers, his blockers, as any good quarterback should. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And he also sought out just moments ago another man. The reason why Miami's offense has worked is because that man, Tom Olivadotti, has gotten the ball for the offense.
That's why that kid makes $25 million. He knows who to thank for today's victory.
Important to know. You appreciate. This is to Craver again out to the 40-yard line. Very little there. It'll be about 3rd down and 2. Scott Mitchell, who played in the World League, and Don Shula said, you know, the World League paid one very important dividend for me. The fact that he could get some experience during the spring of this year, and it paid off last week. 4th-round pick out of Utah, where he set all kinds of records. This big guy, he's 6'6" and 236. Remember last week when Marino was knocked out, he came in a critical 3rd down situation, threw the pass that kept the drive alive that led to the winning score up at the
It was a little screen pass to the flanker. He executed it beautifully, and Shula said, look, he had very little time to warm up. Just kind of walked in there, threw that flanker screen, 17-yard pickup, and then Marino comes in and throws the touchdown to Fred Banks.
Craver's 3rd straight carry, and it'll be close to a 1st down.
Dick, trying to put this game into perspective, for the last 3 years, the AFC East has been trying to catch Buffalo with talent, and it's been so difficult to win up here in Orchard Park. And now the balance has swung just a little bit in Miami's favor, at least here for the next 3 weeks now. Miami has the control of a lot of things, like if their season continues, playoffs in Miami, not in the cold of Buffalo. A lot of things that really play into this victory here in Buffalo.
Prokop the kick on 4th and 1.
And Buffalo doesn't even try to block it.
6 at the other end, 20, and he's out to the 29-yard line. Reminder, next Saturday on NBC Sports World, Belmont Park will be the scene for the Breeders' Cup preview. And that will have a matchup of the Kentucky Derby winner of a year ago, Strike the Gold, and this year's Belmont Stakes winner, AP Indy, and many more. The top horses in the country as they tune up for racing's richest day, the championship day, the Breeders' Cup, later this month. But next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Time, Belmont Park, Breeders' Cup preview on NBC. Yeah, they're going to be dancing all the way back to Miami.
Yes. Yeah, one other comment. I think Bobby Humphrey should miss every flight for the rest of this season. He's played well, and it's been good luck.
They're liable to pick up the fine. He did, you know. Did you notice those little marks on the top of the ear, those little burn marks that he had a jaw imprint right against them.
Missing a plane is bad. You get fined. Missing meetings is really bad. Missing all that and then losing the game, oh, man.
At least you can be forgiven after what happened today. As you look at the other scores, Indianapolis up by 10 against Tampa Bay. At Tampa Bay. Atlanta with its victory against Green Bay. Jerry Glanville carrying a little heat around Dixie this past week.
He's mad at everybody, isn't he? Thankfully, the referees are taking 9 seconds off the clock. That's the kind of action we like.
I tell you what, I may be wrong. I don't think this game is ever going to end.
Dick, I'll tell you what it does.
I think a lot of people here have figured the same. There are a lot of empty seats. Awald with a catch. That'll take the ball out to a first down across the 40-yard line where Dwight Hollier makes the tackle, and both teams using their backup players, giving them some experience as the Miami Dolphins lead 37-10. They've outscored Buffalo 20-0 here in the second half, and we offered you that statistic earlier that the Bills have owned the second half, and many credit Buffalo's success the fact that with that fast-paced offense they wear down defenses, and then in the second half they have it all their own way. 97-14. They've outscored their opponents, and yet today it's Miami 20-0. A very convincing effort by the men from down south.
Yeah, and Dick, I don't think it's fair for anybody to look at Buffalo and say they played poorly. Miami forced them into that situation. All the credit has to go to the Miami Dolphins, and I think Marv Levy is well aware of that. I mean, you can't take anything away from this victory. Miami took this football game from Buffalo. Buffalo didn't give it to them.
Look at that picture of the sun shining on the face of the 62-year-old Tulip. Almost that expression of, you know what, we might be pretty good.
We might be pretty. He wasn't sure yesterday.
That was Marino, but Marino had the same look. You had the hint in his reaction that something good was happening with the emergence of Humphrey and of Keith Jackson. Tasker with a catch and a first down, and that takes us to the 2-minute time. Saying, hey, you know, I just listen, I didn't oversleep. I just went to the wrong airport. But I'm here now. My plane landed. He was on the next flight. You can be sure of that. Had to pay his own way. Had to pay a little bit more. A 4-figure fine was the hint that Don Shula gave us. And Thurman Thomas, only 33 yards rushing. He did catch 9 for 83. So in terms of his total scrimmage yards, a good day, not a Thomas day. Normally up around 200. He had 116 yards total.
And I think everybody on the Dolphins defensive staff said we got to stop him running. And they did. Last year, 165 yards rushing against this team.
We said no one's figured out a way as we started the telecast today, but Kenneth Davis replacing Thomas. And what an able replacement he is. Close to 10, maybe more, and a first down at the 25-yard line as we run down to the 145 mark.
Everybody we talked to yesterday, it's safe to say the Dolphins are done with this game. That's Mark Clayton on the sideline, but everything they told us that they wanted to have happen today has happened. They shut down Thurman Thomas running the ball. The offense of Miami didn't make the big mistake, didn't turn it over. And they got Keith Jackson into the game.
Reich skips that one after he couldn't find a man open deep. Rob Awalt, the intended target. You know, the story that'll be chronicled around the country today, and for those who have watched, is that the streak of the dominance has ended in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills and jarred from the throne as the Miami Dolphins and Keith Jackson and his production today. I mean, the one catch told you everything.
Absolutely.
If you weren't with us, and maybe if we have a chance, we can show you that catch again, where he went racing over the middle, may not even been intended for him, speared the ball and dead run out of the air, and then just ran through tacklers for the touchdown. Davis goes down right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Let me tell you another thing about Keith Jackson. Met this kid first time doing the Orange Bowl a number of years ago. Was lamenting the fact that he was recruited by Oklahoma when Barry Switzer said, we're going to the I. Marcus Dupree is going to be our running back. It's going to cost me millions of dollars. But it all works out. He's a first-round draft choice and then gets a big free agent contract. This kid is a wonderful young man to be around. He'll be perfect for Don Shula. He will be no problem whatsoever and a big help in the clubhouse.
Intended for Brad Lamb and Troy Vincent, that rookie with a great speed. Just he'd been beaten for a moment, but he corrected it with that sensational burst of speed he possesses.
This game will be over in about 45 seconds, Dick.
Well, then I better remind folks that the executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill, coordinating producer of NBC's football, and the producer of today's game is John Faratzis. Sorry about that, John. Directed by John Gonzalez, Associate Director Al Szymanski, Production Associate Ed Bibashoff, Tim Divkheim is our Production Manager, Bill Parinello, Technical Manager, and our Technical Director, Mitch Geller. And our thanks to Michael Gluck and Steve Solomon, Raj Schneiderman, Joe Costanza for their help here in the booth. Right to the end zone, and overthrows Eddie Fuller. And that pass on 4th down, and it goes over on downs to the Miami Dolphins with 40 seconds remaining. And there are the rest of the men and women who brought you the sights and sounds from Buffalo today. One of the quietest, biggest crowds in Buffalo history. Biggest ever, in fact. And didn't have much of a chance to cheer. And the key at the end of the half, Kelly took them downfield, down by 2 scores, got a touchdown before the intermission. It was 17-10 with a record Buffalo has enjoyed in the second half. The support of the crowd had figured that they were in a position to maintain their stranglehold in the AFC East. But Miami, the better team today, and showed it in a convincing manner. And in the process, Louis Oliver, a 103-yard record-tying NFL touchdown return with an interception as Kelly was picked off 4 times.
Miami, they're gonna have a difficult time wiping the smiles off these guys' faces by Tuesday when they got to go back to work.
Don't suppose Keith Jackson will have his own special masseur, do you?
Oh,
his own tub.
He's going to be sore, but it's a happy sore.
Don Shula and Marv Levy with a congratulations. A couple of Alabama kids there, Humphrey and Bennett. But the biggest smiles belong to the team with the 37. The Miami Dolphins defeat the heavily favored Buffalo Bills 37-10.
37, Buffalo 10.
Now Dan Marino with 3 touchdown passes, and Don Shula enjoys his 310th victory, and now a team that others will point toward the Miami Dolphins. So for Bob Trumpy, this is Dick Enberg saying so long from Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Stay tuned for the Old Spice post-game report. This has been NBC's coverage of the National Football League.